So now you're here again, knocking at my door.
What is up, Siege fans? Welcome to Operation Neon Dawn, our final season of Year 5 of Rainbow Six Siege. I'm your host, Seltzer, and today we've got a lot to cover. We've got a brand new operator, we've got a new map update, and we've got new gameplay updates coming very soon. But before we get a deeper look at the new season with our development team, we've got Chris Waters from Ubisoft News here with the breakdown.
Operation Neon Dawn is lighting up Rainbow Six Siege in a whole new way, as a defender named Aruni is setting up laser gates. Angry laser gates. Look, I know they seem cool and kinda synth-wavy, but attackers, please don't touch them. I promise you it's for your own good. These gates have it out for drones, utility projectiles, and anyone on the attacking team, making Aruni a powerful architect of defense. Neon Dawn is also bringing a skyscraper map rework, as well as some key gameplay updates, including a nice little upgrade to Hibana's X-Kairos launcher. As the final season of Year 5 of Siege, Neon Dawn is definitely going to punch above its weight. Aruni is a medium-speed, medium-armor defender from Thailand who can slow down, stymie, and seriously singe attackers with her Surya gates. She can drape them over a soft or reinforced wall, set them up on windows, or use them to protect hatches, and they will completely cover the area. When she deploys them over doors, however, they leave a gap at the bottom for drones or nicely aimed projectiles. Attackers will need to take advantage of that gap because the laser grid of a Surya gate will destroy any drone or utility projectile that hits it. And if an attacker touches it, it'll take a substantial bite out of their health. See, when a Surya gate destroys something or zaps someone, it deactivates temporarily to recharge. So, once an attacker uses some utility like a grenade or a gadget, or burns some of their health to take down a Surya gate, that doorway is just a doorway again. Keep in mind that there is a short delay from zapping something to deactivation. This short delay is all Aruni needs to get her speedy P-10 Roni submachine gun or her big, bad MK-14 EBR marksman rifle trained on the door in question. The first DMR to be wielded by a defender is not to be taken lightly, and Aruni always has her PRB-92 sidearm standing by for close encounters. Influencing where encounters happen is one of Aruni's biggest strengths, as her Surya gates help the defending team reconfigure the map to their advantage. You see, while attackers get hung up dealing with laser problems, defenders can waltz right through. The Surya gate turns off when a defender is close, making them perfect for protecting your rotation holes. Just be careful not to set up an ambush too close to one while an attacker is nearby, or you may give your position away by turning off the gate. Even if the attackers do shut down a gate, Surya gate generators are indestructible, but while the gate will recharge, it won't reactivate automatically. Defenders will have to wait until the sparking effect stops and the generator flips open again. Then they'll have to shoot it to get the grid back online.
Surya gate active!
And if Aruni ever decides to shift her defensive focus, the generators can be picked up and repositioned at will. The power of the Surya gates to disrupt attackers' plans and movements, plus the added barbed wire or proximity alarms in her secondary gadget slot, make Aruni a formidable asset to any defending team. Oh, and one more thing. You've seen that Aruni's prosthetics give her melee attack a little extra flair, but on the test server, she'll have some extra destructive power as well. PC players can download the test server for free and take Aruni's wall-bustin' left hook for a spin. Just be sure to send the dev team some feedback and let them know what you think.
Reloading ammo.
Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
The new map rework coming to Operation Neon Dawn is Skyscraper. Now, this one took a little extra time to get right, but we're really pleased with how it turned out. For more information on the new Skyscraper, here's level designer Nicolas Jolicoeur.
Well, one of the first things we did was to have a little less windows in certain areas so that the crossfires are not as deadly as they used to be, which really helps. Also, there are certain balconies that we removed so that attackers are less likely to stay outside and just stay at the windows. The whole exterior wall of Karaoke, that was where there used to be a balcony. That whole balcony's side, we removed that. So the only way to be on that wall to come into one of the windows is through rappelling. Well, the whole restaurant area, what is interesting is that we've cut the restaurant part in half. So you got the bars. So now we have, would say, like the cocktail bars, and now we're gonna have a sushi bar. And then you're gonna have a double door that will send you into the restaurant area where you have the bathroom. So that really makes it so that you're less in the feeling that you have angles all over the place, as much for attackers or defenders. When you would be in a restaurant, you felt like everyone could see you from anywhere. We've added a whole new connection. I find that that's the most exciting part of all of our changes. On the second floor, if you remember, Dragon used to be exterior. Well, now it's interior. And we've added a new small section outside of it named Shrine. And now, thanks to that, we now have a connection where you could go from the VIP clearance, go through Dragon, and get all the way to Tea Room. So with this new connection going on, there are so much more possibilities for as attackers and defenders to create new strategies. And it makes it much more exciting. So we still have those very nice rooftops on either side, which you still don't have access to. But in the middle, right over Dragon and Terrace, now you could rappel on top of that roof to help you be able to get to the other side of the map much quicker. If you remember correctly, bedroom and bathroom used to be a little claustrophobic. Now, which is fun with the new layout that we got, it's still sort of similar to what we have, but it breathes so much more. And you have new ways of attacking it now. So you've got an entrance from delivery room that now has a destructible wall with it. There was something that no one enjoyed. If you remember correctly, there was the back stairs where all you had to do was stay down on the stairs and you could see underneath the barricades of the door and you could shoot anyone that was coming through there. Well, now that's changed and there's no more of that going on. It was like, it's a slight change, but it really makes a huge difference.
Thank you, Nick. Next up, we have game designer Emilien Lomé and our writer Gary Astleford to tell us more about our newest defender, Aruni.
Core aspect that we want for Aruni is to be an architect of defense. It is a role that emerged in Siege very early. Mira, Castle, and also Smoke was also dedicated to that due to the combination of SMG and shotgun. And that specific role is something we really like in defense, and we wanted to make a new one that would join this club of operators that we call architects. Going with this laser gate, with this proximity detection, means that if a defender gets close, the laser can turn off. So it is not a symmetrical relationship like with Castle. If I block a doorway of Castle, I block it for everyone. With Aruni, I can block a rotation, use it as much as I want, and the attacker is going to have to face the challenge, not me. It's a layer thing. You have the wall, you have the reinforcement, and then you have the laser grid. So you can have all three of them at the same time. You can breach the wall, and then behind the attacker is like, oh, well, now there is an Aruni gate that is also preventing me from moving forwards, an extra step for me to deal with. Same thing for hatches. You can have the hatch reinforced and the laser underneath it. The choice is going to be important. Going for a wall will oftentimes mean using more of them. If you're in constellate garage, you can do that, but that's all of your gate for just the wall, instead of protecting kitchen or server with it. We want you to make choices. We want you to be able to protect walls better, but doing this brings a diminishing return. The interaction of the laser is a critical component, so we wanted everyone to be able to deal with lasers. We want to always have an option, or almost always. The level of safety provided by Aruni is not the same as Castle. Those two, we wanted those two to be very different, but this thing does not block bullets, does not block vision, and technically doesn't block people either. But it's, again, a deterrent. You need to play on the mind of the attacker to win this, not just on, okay, this is blocked. The point is, we don't really want this, okay, I'm tossing my utility there, it's done, I'm doing something else. No, it's like, okay, team, we're going to go through that door and secure the floor together, and once that's done, we can move forward. So we want Aruni to create those moments again and again during a round, It's something that creates moments, 30-second window for the attacker to execute, the same way they would on an objective room. Finka is a great way to just push through the gate, take the damage and soak it with the extra health, and at the same time, surprise the defender because you did something they'd probably never expect. Irony is both an easy gadget to get rid of and also a big challenge to actually maintain this state of it's no longer there. Considering the character we made, we allowed her to have like a stronger punch, and when she does melee wall, she creates openings. Not big, like shotgun shell size, but you can absolutely make your own rotation with a Rooney. So as an architect, without that option, it was either the secondary shotgun, which we already kind of have in a few operators, or primary shotguns. And if you want this architect role, primary shotgun would be mandatory, and it would be a bit disappointing for us to not explore other things. Right now we can. So we went with two options, one that is more of a classic Defender way to do things, the P10 Rooney. But we also are trying something new here, and we're bringing a DMR in defense. She has access to the MK14, and I'm really curious to see how that goes.
I'm reloading!
When Rooney was a child, she grew up on the Thailand-Cambodia border. And her little sister was playing and detonated a mine that had been unexploded. And it took her sister's life. And that was a pivotal moment in her life because it allows her to focus more on charities and making sure that doesn't happen to somebody else. Rooney is sort of like Nighthaven's conscience, you know? She lives a very austere lifestyle. She doesn't spend a lot of money on herself. So she finds places to spend that money where it will do the most good. The other reason she joined Nighthaven is because Nighthaven has access to a lot of cutting-edge technology. And as somebody who uses prosthetic limbs in her day-to-day, she's really interested in making sure she has cutting-edge technology when it comes to prosthetics. Rooney and Thermite were working on a joint operation in Thailand, tracking down a weapons ring. And during the course of that investigation, there was an accident, and they were both seriously injured. Rooney more so than Thermite. I can't talk too much about the details of the accident, but I can assure you they will be revealed in the future. We are looking to have a lot of inclusivity and diversity in all the operators that we've got coming. And so in those cases, we are doing our research and we are talking with consultants to make sure we're sensitive to these issues and we present them in a good light and that these characters are relatable.
Thanks, guys. Emilian will also be posting in the upcoming designer's notes about our plans to address the 20-second meta. You can find those notes on Rainbow Six social channels and our website shortly after the stream. Now, last season, we introduced our accessibility tab, and with it, the ability to change site colors and opacity. This season, we're very excited to expand our accessibility features, with new communication options, including voice-to-text and text-to-voice. There are also a bunch of gameplay updates coming with Operation Neon Dawn. Here to discuss further are David Perpignan and Aurélie Debont.
Spawn picking and runouts are very frustrating for most players and especially newcomers and intermediary players, but because they don't have the knowledge of the map and also not enough coordination. Defenders going outside is not a problem for us, but it should be more risky. So it was this reason we reduce the outside timer detection, so we reduce to 1 second. But I think this shorter timer will help the attacker player to manage better their attack and also reduce the negative impact to be killed by a runout very early in the round. So defenders have to commit to their runouts and attacker could react much quicker. So I think this change should be fairer for all players.
Currently, Jaeger has a pretty dominant position on the catcher utility meta. That is a meta that has been very present on Rainbow Six for some time now, so we're taking some actions in this matter. If we are able to modify Jaeger's behavior, we may be able to modify a bit the distribution on projectiles and utility. The new ADS won't be able to catch 2 rounds consecutively. After destroying a projectile, the ADS will remain disabled for 10 seconds, so this is a big change. When the disabled time ends, the ADS will come back to the active status and will be able to catch projectiles again. The counterpart of this change is that the ADS will have infinite charges, so you have a cooldown after catching something, but you cannot catch one after another. Jaeger is causing now a lot of pressure into the economy of projectiles for attackers, so we're expecting a bit of a change here. Right now you shouldn't need as many projectiles as before to deal with him, so we expect to see a bit more of variety on the attacker sides in terms of projectiles and secondary gadgets. Jaeger is not the only change we are going to do for the 20-second meta. During this season, you may expect more changes from the balancing cell regarding this matter. With the recent release of Ace and the Hard Breacher, we wanted to take a look at the whole ecosystem for breachers in the game, and we decided to make some changes in Ivana. So we are tweaking a bit the resource management on her to give her more functionalities. Now Ivana will be able to choose how many pellets she wants to shoot with the X-Kairos launcher. We'll let the players choose between 3 options. They can choose between 6 pellets, 4 pellets, or 2 pellets. Now Ivana is going to be able to be more flexible and have better choices during the match. The fact that the resources are more distributed will allow her to react specifically to its circumstance. For example, if you are facing a castle, you can choose to shoot only 2 pellets and you're going to save a lot of X-Kairos into your pocket. And if you found a hatch that it's just reinforced, you choose to shoot 4 of the pellets and you'll break it. Ivana has been known for a long time as the queen of the hatches, and we're trying to reinforce that role right now. Right now, Echo is a super strong operator that ends in the status of ban or pick. It's hard not to see him on a match of Pro League if it's not banned, and we think we need to take extra steps to fix this. The current yokai drones for Echo are a drone that you can throw and attach to the ceiling, and they become invisible once they are not operated, which means that it's pretty hard to spot. The new yokai drones won't be using the invisibility system, so when they are deployed and they are attached into the ceiling, they can still be spotted by other operators and destroyed. Let's say it's a bit easier to find them. Echo could still play as it plays right now, but he will need to be a bit more careful with the drones. A bit of map knowledge is going to be a bonus for Echo's players, because you need to hide those drones from the attackers, and that's important. He will need to invest more time on the observation tools, and for compensating that a bit, we are bringing back the shield to his loadout.
Aruni and the rest of Operation Neon Dawn will be live on the test server tomorrow, November 9th. So please play, have fun, and send us your feedback. We'll also be sharing more news shortly about Siege on next-gen consoles, so make sure you keep your eyes on all the usual Siege channels. Thanks so much for watching, and now back to the EU Major.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What a reveal for a brand new operation. As all I have seen it, there's so many changes that are going to coming in. As you see, we're getting ready for our grand final. Before that, we're going to have a chat about it all. Ladies and gentlemen, today you look also beautiful and ready. I'm sure you're all excited, not just for our final, but also for all the changes coming. Because, and this is something that the panel also addressed when they were making the video, that 20-second meta that people talk about all the time. That is going to be addressed. You're going to see more of that tomorrow once a blog post comes out with all the details, the thoughts of the developers trying to address that problem. That is something that a lot of people have been complaining about. They are definitely listening on that. Jess, you talked about the meta game and all of that when we were coming in here on Friday, giving people a quick idea. What's your takes? Come on, we're going to podcast through this. Let's talk about the game.
I said on Twitter, I said everywhere, I even said yesterday, as you said, the biggest thing for me is that everyone is complaining it's utility dump simulator. All right. Now you've got ADSs that you can disable with one projectile. I can be Ash, I can be whoever with flash grenades, and I can go, hey, come here. You guys have got 2 grenades. There's 1 flash. Go to town. Now that shield doesn't stay up. Now that player can't hide in the corner or whatever it is. I'm telling you, if there are complaints after this, it's because you lack coordination, not because there's any problem with anything on the defender side. That's what I think.
Well, you can tell Jess woke up with a good day. Use your damn pluses. You can tell Jess woke up.
He did, Des. He did.
This
Brady Bunch is falling apart.
Wrong channel.
You go ahead.
Oh my God.
Go on, Hap. Take
What was
it.
your Hap?
I was gonna say, indeed, it is the case. Like, you could stack up all 3 ADS if you really want to. You still need 3 projectiles, but as soon as that goes in, you need to run afterwards. So you need to be very coordinated with your pushes here, but there's no more real trouble with, you have to use every single piece of utility you have because it literally just got halved at least.
Yeah, I kind of see it a little bit similar to the changes that came through with Thatcher, where it's now just a disable for a temporary amount of time, right? So now it's the game really reinforcing timings and coordination, which I think is a fantastic thing, right? You can still burn through those ADSs. Like, in theory, Jaeger can protect more stuff now because there's infinite charges, but you just chuck 1 flash through, maybe chuck another, and then it's all about timing, coordination with your teammates. So yeah, bravo, full marks.
Yeah. It's going to take a bit of time, I think, if you're starting to look at my plus was first.
I was.
The system is hilarious, by the way. I love this.
Good God.
No, so to me, I've watched chat go back as the trailer has played out and people have looked at it. I've just watched it back, and you see such a jump between, oh my God, infinite ADS charges, and oh my God, 10 seconds is too long. It's going to be rubbish now.
Yeah.
This happens every single time we get a new reveal come out. People are very polarized. Wait until you get hands on them. Wait until you've seen the full designer notes, and then make an informed decision. But personally, this is going to resolve things like massive utility dumps coming into yellow stairs on Consulate. Those are the moments that I'm really looking forward to seeing, especially whenever my ban comes through.
Look, everybody hates changes, even if it sometimes will resolve some of the problems that they have, just because you're steering away from, the thing that you've been used to.
Can I speak now?
I can't type. You go for it. Hey, I have control here. Go for it. I don't care. I'm far away from my keyboard.
This wasn't mentioned in the video. Talking of Wamai, bam, his shield, it's gone. Wamai no longer has a shield. Neither does Valk. 2 changes that aren't really going to massively impact, I would say, ranked downwards, apart from the top tier. But 2 changes that will impact, obviously, this comp play. This 20-second meta, this burn and thing. That's 2 big shields from 2 big potential, pretty frequent play operators gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty huge because that's something that a lot of people in the community have been talking about as well, but also because it's now been announced that Echo is going to be getting a shield. It's nice to know that you've already got 2 of some of the most popular operators right now. They've had theirs removed, and so it means that with Echo, you can kind of focus a bit more on the yokai changes and not so much be like, oh no, another shield that's been added to Smoke, Wamai, and Valkyrie, which always get talked about.
I'm really curious to see how it shapes up when... I know a lot of people were crying before and saying, can we see Smoke Shield gone as well? But here you're losing 2 from 2 critical operators at the pro level, especially Wamai. I think given the nerf that's come through to the likes of Jaeger, that you're now going to require less utility to blow through shields, you don't want to go too heavy and say, right, no shields, no gadget denial, no utility denial at the very least, and just give attackers complete and utter run-of-the-mill, especially with that nerf coming into Echo, for example, because now he's got to make a conscious choice. Do I use that shield to make sure I can sit somewhere safe without being killed and potentially still get blown up by a Zofia or an Ashe? Or do I put it somewhere where the team needs it, where I can't really play behind and expose myself elsewhere? There's quite a few things to think about, I think. And I'm sure when pros get their hands on this in the next couple of months or so, we're going to see some really interesting setups coming out.
There's other areas that we really haven't discussed yet as well. And I don't want to harp on the whole meta and the whole ADS changes and everything like that. The whole thing about Hibana, and I know I might be derailing the discussion a little bit, the change to Hibana, I love this operator. I've always loved Hibana. I think she is a critical hard breaching operator. When Ace came out, everyone was like, she's a nothing. And I said, you're a loser. So I was like, you know what? Here comes the X-Cairo changes, because now what you can do is you can circumvent those impact tricking. That is something that is done at high ranked level. This is done at competitive level consistently. So that will affect those sort of ranks and that kind of gameplay. I think the impact tricking being circumvented, now you're not going to have such defended sidedness. Ace, Selma charges will still get impact tricked. And now there's more incentive to bring back Hibana. Hibana's back, baby. What can I say?
She will get a hatch opened up if she wants to. There's no more going around it. But we can also quickly mention the fact that the yokais will no longer be invisible, meaning that it's not going to be as much as a pain as it used to be anymore in the last 20 seconds when those stuns would be coming through. You can just scout them out beforehand now, or Echo needs to toss them in, and that is something you would need to cover for, just like a normal C4, for example. So it's going to be easier to play around that operator as well.
I'm going to quickly jump back to Aruni. I'm going to go into town onto her gates. Yeah, you know.
We haven't spoken about the new operator.
The big highlight of the operation, right?
Cool robot leg as well. Yeah, let's quickly talk about those gates because it might not have been entirely clear how they work. They get disabled by anything that goes through them. Person, projectile, whatever. One thing flicks through, it flickers and dips for 30 seconds. It's down, completely gone. The only way to kick it back into gear is to actually reshoot the thing on the top. So it's not an autoplay. So it almost becomes a little bit of taking ground and taking push. It's not as scary as it might first sound as an indestructible gadget, because 30 seconds in this game can be a huge space of time to push singular points.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Aruni. I think that she is going to be powerful, but she's also going to have a lot of ways to counter her, and she's not going to soak up your explosives like all this other utility that we're talking about. So, you know, full marks. Hap, I know you're keen to mention the fact that the EMPs can be used against Aruni as well. So I'm really keen on that. But we've also haven't spoken about Skyscraper yet, a map that we actually once saw in the pro scene, and it's back in action. We've seen a little bit of a tease, and I'm really excited for it. I think that they've done a great job. Now, of course, I'm eager to try it myself, but I can't wait to get stuck into Skyscraper.
People don't remember what it was like back in the day when they played it, when it was played competitively, and NA used to play a ton of it, and I can't wait to see. Maybe we'll have it competitively, actually.
Yeah, the one thing I really want to touch on quickly as well, thinking about it, I am really hot on teams and their drone use in this meta especially. Like, I've criticised it a lot over the last couple of days. I can't wait to see if teams finally start thinking, is it worth holding onto our drones and throwing them at Aruni gates? Because that might genuinely be the play. Think about how much utility you'll have left over if you use that to burn a gate, burn through the 2 ADSs that maybe are stacked up in a key location. It's like, hey, guess what? We've got a straight line of sight at these shields now. They're going to get blown up as well. You're straight in, that's it. That utility meta is gone. The shields disappear, and then you go back to run into the room and kill as many people as you can.
Or planting.
Yeah, interesting to let you set the idea of the new meta when you don't think callouts are skillful.
They are not. Callouts are purely knowledge, like game knowledge. They are not a skill. Come on.
This is the debate we can get into for 3 hours plus.
British people and semantics.
I'm going to find a way to climb across Milos's camera to fight you, Gio.
Look, okay, let's put it at the end. Aruni, big deal. Please, for everything that it's patch-wise, remember that everything will be played next week. So try it out, see what you think about it. Don't just go on Twitter and spout whatever whatever comes to your mind. Think about things, try them out. There are people that are working on all of this. They just listen to you. We're in the middle of a pandemic. People have taken their time to try and address some of the problems that everybody has been voicing for so long. Let's just get together to try to find what the right balance is in everything instead of just spouting nonsense everywhere. For once in our lives, we are in a spot where we can actually change things with the game and make them more effective. Guys, thank you so much, though, for this quick discussion. I know we could have sat here all day talked about the game, but there's something even more important coming up soon. The major grand final for Europe starts in just a bit.
split-second decision, your vision fractures into a world of infinite possibilities. A whole universe lives in that fraction of time. A universe born from experience that fed your intuition, firing faster than a synapse, drawing on lessons of defeat and victory to make the right move in this moment. A singular moment exploding with multiple outcomes, but only one can be great. Only one reflects the reality of a pro player. And reality is what they make it, with conviction. The true pro knows their time, makes their move, and takes their place at the top, where only the best of the best can call home.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The trophy for the November Major is right there in front of you. We may not be in the studio in Paris, but that thing is sitting beautifully where we would actually like to be very, very soon. I can tell you that. That's the little trophy that hopefully teams will receive, at least one team will receive at the end of this tournament. It sets on only these two, Empire and BDS. We've seen both of them in grand finals in the past before, and they come in for this one. So, Gio, James, you look so beautiful today. I love the bow tie, by the way.
James looks like Bill Nye.
Science guy.
Like a young Bill Nye.
The stats guy.
I don't
Can you see it?
have science, but I have stats. So
there you go.
I'll have to substitute.
Okay, you know what? First, let's take a look at the playoffs bracket. For those that may have not watched through this weekend, I'm so sorry you missed some of the best games that we've had in this entire year, but here they are. How do we get to that grand final with Empire and BDS is something where we're going to be exploring in just a second. We came in with 4 teams, right, Gio? Now, how did it like end up there? Because we did not expect Tempra to actually come to this situation here.
No, Tempra were definitely the underdog in this entire story, getting somewhat overlooked throughout the regular season and managed to speed their way all the way up to the top to take that actually the 3rd seed, I believe they came in at. And obviously faced Team Empire in semi-final number 2. They didn't make it much further than that. They had to face Virtus Pro in the lower bracket, and they lost 2-0. So they didn't last very long, but the fact they got here, as Hap said yesterday, that's the real thing that was important there for Tempra.
Yeah, in fact, this major was full of surprises to me. Not only do we come in with Tempra out of nowhere, coming from Challenge League, but also Team Empire, who had a really, really poor Stage 1 in EUL, and even the previous season, even Invitational left a lot to be desired for them. And coming into this major, they've managed to go through the winner bracket all the way. BDS no doubt the favorites for this major, and in my opinion, for the entire of Europe for the West of 2020, but they have been knocked down a perch, and it's Team Empire's time to shine. This Russian-French battle continues every single match of our major.
Every single match. French, I will cut you off for just a second, Gio. I know we got time to go through. So let's go with our rosters very quickly. Start to talk about this France versus Russia matchup in the winter when that has happened in the past. BDS, our French squad, up on the screen. They've done it before where they've gone down to the lower bracket, right? And they went all the way back up to win in the summer.
Yeah, and it's a bit foreboding, isn't it? We've seen these guys. We know that going into the previous major, they weren't necessarily favored because Rogue was there and they had won Stage 1, but BDS comes out of nowhere. They reverse sweep G2 all the way into that grand final. What an event that was. And coming to this one, I think we'd all kind of flipped our expectations and we're thinking BDS is no doubt like the best team in Europe. Everyone's scared of them. They should cruise through and take this entire event handily, but they have been knocked into that lower bracket. But we've seen it happen before.
I mean, at this point, BDS, we know that they're guaranteed to go through into the 6th Invitational. The point that I was going to make before is that fact that they came in from the lower bracket last time in the August major. We've seen this happen before, so it's definitely not something where you can just straight up say, oh yeah, they're on the back foot. Yeah, maybe they don't have the buy map in the final, but this is BDS, and they've proven a lot to us so far.
Definitely so. They reversed G2 in that grand final. Though, let's take a look at Team Empire, a team that came in very rocky into stage 2, that recovered not only to get into the top 4, but beat BDS in the upper bracket grand final. 2-1 victory there. See if they can repeat more of that today with a Russian machine.
The tenacity of this team, in my opinion, is one of the single most important storylines for them, because they are a team who were on top of the world back in the early half of 2019, and they really fell off the wagon. Stage 1 didn't look too fruitful for them. Stage 2 is really where we saw those incredibly important improvements be made by Team Empire, particularly looking at people like Joystick, like Dan Scyther was showing up, and now they're here, and suddenly victory is potentially within their grasp again.
Yeah, it's definitely been an erratic season here for Empire. If you look at that graph on the right-hand side, well, we got it. We lost it now. But the idea is that they go up and down, up and down. It means they've won a lot of games by significant margins. They've also lost a lot of games. They had a lot of ties as well. But the end of stage 2 was really where we saw that resurgence. You mentioned Joystick, Gio. For me, a big factor for Empire and their rise back to power, chasing their former glory, has been Joystick switching roles with Scyther and allowing Scyther to be on that more aggressive position as an entry fragger and roamer, and Joystick sitting in a more comfortable support role, which is not something we would have expected a long time ago, but it's working out for them.
So who did you two pick for our head-to-head in this matchup? I know we're going to talk more details about the maps very quickly a bit later on, but I'm very curious to see stats comparison, and it's Shaiko and Joystick. Wow, who would have expected it? out of the blue, right?
I mean, this is going to be entirely unsurprising for anyone. These are the golden children of these two teams. Joystick and Shaiko have been the biggest names in the mouths of people who watch any games by these two players and know of their history. Yeah, there are other players on the team like Renshiro Bride or Scyther and Dan who really show up for those teams, but ultimately, these are the two who everyone has always seen in the stars, and they're going to have to be there again today if they're going to help lead their team to victory.
With our matchup close to being ready, we're just going to take a quick look at our map ban and remind everybody that this is a best of 5 series, but Team Empire coming from the upper bracket, so they do have an advantage. The Scyther map that you'll see at the bottom will be their auto victory, basically, in this series. So we're going to play a potential 4 maps on the stream, and I'll see it pop up in just a second. Drum roll, please. Thank you very much.
Here we go.
There it is. Pick, ban, pick, and our decider, Cafe Dostoevsky, set as a decider auto victory for Team Empire. But Villa, Coastline, Oregon, and Clubhouse. Very quickly, you predicted that there would be a clear winner in this in Empire, James. Do you believe that that's still the case?
No, this map veto changes everything for me. BDS have gotten really lucky. Not only did they win the coin flip, get the first pick, but they managed to get Villa and Oregon both through, which are the 2 maps that I think they shape up best against Empire. Really smart from them to let Theme Park through and force Empire to ban that. I think that's some clever work from BDS. I favor them, but I think we're going all the way to Clubhouse. It's both teams' best map, and that's why I want to see this series conclude.
Yeah, I mean, I think Oregon is one of those maps that you look at and say, this should work out for Team Empire, but we saw them play it against BDS already in this tournament, and it didn't work out for Empire. Empire historically have had a limited map pool, and I think BDS may have just taken advantage of that, but you never know. Empire on a really good day can do some amazing things. It's definitely not worth discounting them.
So how do you look at map 1 then? Who takes that?
It's Villa. It's got to be BDS. It was a map that usually wasn't in their pool, but they have made massive improvements. They beat Virtus Pro even yesterday. It's a great map for VP. That was a huge stride, and actually we saw Empire lose it to Temper earlier in the tournament as well. I think this is definitely going to be a win for BDS.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, Villa especially, I think that's really going to lean in BDS's favor. Empire can definitely go back on some of the VODs over the last few days to see how it is they've been playing, but if they can actually overcome them in practice, well, that's the question that remains to be answered.
All right, our best of 5 grand final starts right here, right now. BDS versus Team Empire. Empire are ready with a 1-map advantage due to being the top team coming in from the upper bracket. How will it go on map number 1. Villa is our first battleground. Let's toss it over to Jessichu. And you know what? I choose you. All yours.
Thank you very much, Milos. Welcome to the grand finals of the European Major. Probably not in the situation that we thought we'd find ourselves in right now. BDS being the team that came from the lower bracket finals to face off against Empire, the winners from the upper bracket. And as Milos mentioned, they come in with a 1 map advantage. Villa to kick things off, picked by BDS. Never a sight that I thought I would see in a best of 3 or best of 5 series.
I don't care what maps we see. I'm going to be very honest here. When you're in a best of 5, you admit defeat if you are not versatile on your maps. That's it. You can't come into a best of 5 and say, oh, yeah, well, we're good on this map and sometimes we're good on this map, so we probably should win. You have to be very versatile on multiple maps. Villa is going to be the first challenge. And as Dev kind of said, he said, I actually think this does favor BDS, this map ban. Sure, no problems. Last time we said that about G2 in the last major. The map bans really didn't go in their favor. But Empire has a map advantage, so I think that's going to really give them a leg up here in this matchup.
Basically, casters have no idea what they're talking about, and if we say it gives a certain team an advantage, we probably mean the other team has the advantage. But for BDS, I think some fair criticism that some will have levied against them, especially in the pro scene, is, you know, they're a team that thrive in best of ones. That's where they seem to have their strength. When it comes to best of series, they can still win, as we saw at the last major, but they definitely struggle more than they do in the best of 1 format. So here, a best of 5, real good time to get your feet dirty, I think, and stepping into Villa as your first map. The most hated map by BDS all year long is one hell of a way to make a statement if they win this. Anyway, we are into our map ban, starting out with Ace and Thatcher, as you can see. Valkyrie going to follow through, no huge surprise there. Any ideas what the final one might be, given that Wamai is open? It's BDS banning, Jess?
Yeah, BDS surely is going to ban Wamai. They have also banned Mirror a lot of times as well. So you can see them deliberating around it now. They actually probably thought Empire was going to ban Wamai because it is in the major, their most banned operator. So they've actually turned around and said, well, because they didn't ban it, we're going to have to ban it now. And guess what? That leaves Mirror in play, which coincidentally is a very high ban in the major for BDS. So I'm wondering whether or not they're kind of sitting there going, okay, 1, do we run her? They're starting on defense. Why not? We can. Or 2, did we not want Team Empire to have the opportunity to run her, but we also don't want them to have the opportunity to have magnets, to have Wamai. The shield's still in play. You guys heard those patch notes today. It will get removed, but it's still in play at the moment. So I think they've made the right decision, but they might be a little put off on their second half when Empire starts bringing a Mirror.
Alrighty, round number 1 coming up. We're kicking things off in Aviator and Games. You know what would just send this major into meltdown? If BDS chose to adopt the sort of strategy that we saw coming out of Virtus Pro with their living library hold yesterday. Now, we saw in 24 hours the difference between BDS of coming up against that for the first time, having no idea how to beat it. And yesterday, they don't lose against it a single time. They defeated Virtus Pro on that defense twice. One with a really cool armor who played a second time with a much more well thought out approach to it with a more standard attack. So it's very clear that BDS, as much as Shoko might tweet that he hates Villa, they've been putting some work and hours into this map. They are ready for this. And as James said, this could be a BDS map.
It's interesting that they chose to go Aviator first, and the reason I say that is they actually have a really bad win-loss on this particular site. Their best site, and when I say by far, sample size-wise, is actually Statue and Trophy, and Dining and Kitchen comes in a close second. So statistically, outside of Living and Library, of course, as you spoke about before, this is technically their worst site. So if they win this one, that probably bodes pretty damn well for them.
One of those things we don't see all that much anymore since Buck, of course, lost his frag grenades, as well as Buck and Sledge coming along at the same time. I think, I know. Who knows? Maybe in future they'll make a glorious return, but for now they stay firmly in the bin. However, you still got 2 members on side here with the grenade. You have the Maverick and the Sledge, so a lot of destructive work that can be done by the attackers here to capitalize on those vertical angles if desired. But I think that's more than anything else looking for some play downstairs. I tell you what, Empire know this. If you've watched BDS playing this map over the last couple of days, which they will have been, Shiko lives for red stairs. Every single round, you will see him on there at some point, and they know that all too well. They've actually rotated a couple of times and put a Melusi at the bottom of red stairs to prevent people running at him. But here, joystick goes, well, it's not there. So guess what? I'm gunning for Shiko, and he has no idea what's coming.
I've seen Joystick do that before, do that exact crouch walk in from the basement, walk all the way up and surprise someone who's not expecting him to already be in the building. You can't do that consistently, but on the first round, a little surprise like that, that's a nice little addition. Alems, however, he wants to try and make a little bit of a flank of his own, and is Joystick aware of this? I don't think he is, just given his prone position on red, and, well, they're aware of it all the way over on Astronomy. They were trying to get a line of sight onto him there. They're trying to lock him off, which is smart because he has a C4 in pocket. That could deny the plant when they try and go for it. Unfortunately for Empire, this entire major, they've not been very good with plants whatsoever, so they don't want to keep that up.
I think what's slightly uncharacteristic for BDS on this round, for me at least, is that very historically on the two upstairs sites on Villa, they always bring 4 C4s with them, whether it's for lateral denial, looking for those horizontal denials from coming out of game, for example, or the vertical ones. They've always had that as part of their gameplay. The vertical play maybe a little bit less so. But here they're losing members kind of one by one. Shaiko on the roam, who wasted so much time for Virtus Pro the other day. Brede, the clutch master himself, the site player for BDS, who we saw go absolutely huge at the very start of stage 1. A little more settled in this round from those two, so it falls down to Renshiro. No doubt their MVP player in the last major and in stage 2, maybe a little bit less so coming into this major, but I know that yesterday he had a fantastic fixture that you were very excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see him pop off again. Is anyone protecting the buck underneath? Not really, but the Vector can't hit the shots that Renshiro is looking for. Speak of the devil, of course. And I have no doubt he will have impact. We've called those mainstays the power position. What I'm worried is that Empire aren't even, caring about it. They don't really even care about it. Oh my God, could this be a flawless round to kick things off? Can Renshiro bring it back? I'm not convinced at all, Des.
Well, Renshiro's by himself, and yes, it's going to be a flawless round to start things off. Empire, clinical, prepared, and aware of what BDS were doing. Down from the moment they Psycho to cleaning things out with impact, with grenades from below, sorry. Wonderful start for them, and maybe saying to BDS, is this really the map you want to pick here in the major final? We're not so convinced.
All right, I'm going to throw something out there. And I think this is why we may be seeing Team Empire starting on attack for a lot of these maps. I'm going to have to get the full list out in front of me in a moment. But I look over to their stats, and out of all of the EU major, they have a 51.9% attacking win percentage out of all of their attacking rounds. And defensively, they're about 60.6% win rate on their defensive rounds. Compared to BDS, to give you a little bit of okay, what does that even mean? Well, BDS have only won about 44% of their attacking rounds. So Team Empire, in their attacking rounds, are far more effective, and they're not even that good at getting the plant down. They're not even in the top 4 people or rather 4 teams in this that have been able to get plants down. It's been BDS, Tempra, VP, and then another player from BDS as well, Rafale, getting way more plants than Empire throughout this entire competition. So somehow they're winning rounds that, okay, maybe they aren't fully objectively based, but they're still winning them, and they're winning them far more than BDS have been winning theirs.
I guess BDS like to play this more aggressive style. They're not the team that will just all turtle 5 members on site. Sometimes you'll see Shaiko off from the roam by himself, and holding red stairs, you might say, well, not a massive roam here. He did want to pull back to site a bit later, but the other day when he got pincered in by Virtus Pro, what happened? They sent Alem out on the roam to go and join him. And we saw him downstairs in the last round just holding in a cubby by himself for the longest time, unable to really do very much. So they aren't a team that like to play on site. So for Empire, maybe it is a look. We know where they play. We know what their tendencies are. Let's just pick them off when they go for those same places before. Either way, Empire with a wonderful start. And this round is going to be almost an identical repeat. The only change worth mentioning is that Alem and Rafale are swapped over here. Alem playing on the smoke rather than Malusi. And Rafale going from the smoke to playing on the Malusi.
Really, really quick entry from the Joystick yet again on the Ash. You could tell he understands what his role is, and I say that because he's been playing this role on attack specifically for a very, very long time. So he knows exactly what the point of his role is. And, oh, what an unfortunate disconnect. It's way too late into the round to call a rehost. And this is going to severely detriment them. So what Shaiko needs to do now is, unfortunately, pick up a lot of the slack. He needs to be hitting these shots. And, well, he hits one and he hits the second. And that's what his team needs to now get the number count they need.
I'll speak it into existence, Jess, why don't you? Christ, 2 kills come out. It shuts down Joystick and Scyther. So it's still a advantageous situation for BDS being in a 4 versus 3, but obviously without that Malusi on side, without that C4 that BDS so often like to turn to, it means they only have 2 left, where normally they'd be used to having something like 4. It's a small change coming in for them there. However, Shaiko's still holding on red stairs. Again, one of his favorite spots to play on this map is going to be a troublemaker. So for Empire, they've got to deal with that before they even start thinking about the site.
This numbers advantage now that they've been able to gain just out of that red stairs position from Shaiko, it's his famous position, as you were talking about before, will be critical. They still have over 60 seconds left, and that was a mismanaged grenade, but it doesn't matter because Always is there and he always hits his shots. Shaiko does finally go down, and it is a 3v3. And with 60 seconds left, Des, I worry because I'm looking over to the attackers, and the only hard bridge they have is Shepard. And you put yourself in a lot of risk as a Maverick trying to open things up. So do they put lines of sight over into Vault? Maybe. Or are they just looking to just go behind Vault door, get that plant off and try and bait things out? I just don't know yet.
Ooh. Dan says, thank you very much. That C4 that came charging its way into Study blew up the Banshee on the ground as well. So he's a bit more free to move through Study as he wishes. But I think he knows he still can't easily step inside here. He is a one-man army playing on the south side and being contested through the hole that has been opened up through 90 is going to be Always. They're trying to see what they can get control of inside of Aviator. No one currently playing there. BDS playing for the Dinar. We saw them do this the other day as well, where they wait for the plants to come in. You have the smokes, you have the C4s, and BDS still hold the lead despite being a man down at the very start. Empire into the final 10 seconds have got to make it happen right here, right now. Grenades coming singing out, but the Goya shield has popped out to detract away from that LM, almost being blown to smithereens, but with no time left and the smoke still singing on the ground, or the fire still singing on the ground. There's nothing that they can do. BDS take the second round, despite, again, being that man down early on.
The big impact frags early on from Shaiko there. BDS had lost the player, and that's always very crippling. And welcome back, Rafal. This is just the grand final of the major, so, take your sweet time if you'd like. But losing that player...
He steps out to do a bit of coaching for the boys and be like, look, it's all right, boys. I'll just tell you what to do now. I'm going to sit back. I ain't got any pressure on me. Look, we're going to win this round. It's all good. And they do win it, so fair play.
I mean, that's what you need. And I think sometimes I notice that BDS, when they're under pressure, some of those big hitting players, Shaiko is one of them, tend to perform a little bit better. And when I say a little bit better, they're a little bit more reckless. You can tell that they're trying to make that hero play, that impact on the round that is needed. And he did manage to make that impact. My problem is that the first round, Empire got kind of lucky. The Ash crouch walking in, no one knew he was on his way. Now, if you're going to deal with Shaiko, we said this in the first round, I think you and I, we said you've got to be able to get a pinch push onto him. You can't be trying to do these 1v1s in a one-dimensional state. Otherwise, he's going to destroy you because he has really phenomenal mechanical skill. So I would have liked to have seen Empire challenge him from below red stairs and from above in connector, and it would have worked a little better, I think.
Well, it's either setting up on the wolf window, a joystick pushing from below, and it was just, Shaiko does not get out of this one alive, I suppose, in round number 1. The last round came down to 2 of them pushing from the same angle. Bit of a different story. More time being wasted. Absolutely agree with you on that front. Let's see how Trophy and Statue goes as we move away from Aviator games for the first time. A Clash and a Maestro being added to the lineup for BDS here, dropping away from that Malusi and the smoke they brought along previously. Now, whenever I see Clash on this site, I always think of Fabian when he used to be on G2. Their hold would involve the Clash playing solo inside of Aviator and just holding the enemy team inside a bathroom. And there was very little they could do because of the shield supporting the Clash, the ADSs. Very keen to see what Alem's plans are for it in this round.
I hope they kind of use him later into the round to just be a time denial operator rather than, we're going to play him quite aggressively. We're going to make sure that you can ping everyone and then we're just going to get all of our players to peak. I think BDS showed yesterday that they understand you don't have to peak everything. Some teams take a lot of time to get onto site. And as a result, you can have that, sixth teammate on your side, which is time. And you can really use that to your advantage. So I hope they play it a little bit more passive. You can see Dan, and actually Dan is the highest rated player in all of the EU major. He's got a 1.25. He's also got the highest KD. He's also got the highest entry stats. I mean, look, I don't want to go on too much about Dan, but if there's someone who is likely to make an impact here today for Empire, it's going to be him.
Well, he's had his upward trajectory, so has Renshira at the same time, so you can expect those two to be clashing near the top of the table at some point throughout this series, no doubt. But for Empire, this focus up to Wales, what do you expect for this side? You either start down to the south in Study and work your way up, or you take Master, push into Bathroom and look to get control of Astro before you try and go for your play. Here's Alem looking to waste a bit of time, has the wall behind him open, a grenade comes through, almost takes him up, but I think downs Renshira at the same time. That could have been a double kill if that had been ever so slightly different in the outcome. Another grenade comes singing through, Shaiko goes hyper aggressive, he's going to say, look, try that one again and you're in the mud, matey. Down goes Scyther, and a K, he's the first man down, and Renshira gets picked back up. Definitely not a bad scenario, given it could have ended up so much worse for BDS.
That soft wall trick actually hasn't worked. I don't know what part of the wall they've missed, but they know they've missed something and they need to rectify it very quickly. You can see them analyzing exactly where it is. And, you know, by using a drone, they should be able to tell as well. It means they don't have to put their body on the line. This is going to cause them a lot of time to distress very quickly if they don't work this out. They need this wall soft. Dan will impact it open, or they'll buck it and they'll get access, but it's wasted a lot of time.
Yeah, 40 seconds to go, and time waits for no man here. Dan putting up a kill as the guy we speak about earlier on what he can deliver, bringing down God himself in Shaiko, it seems. 4v4, 30 seconds to play with, though, and as you said, there's still quite a lot to do for them. A C4 on side for Renshira, and no doubt maybe the Mute as well will have one. Alem falling down finally on that clash as Joystick comes swinging his way up the Astro stairs. They're in a spot now where they have the numbers advantage, but time, as you say, becomes that sixth man for the defensive team. You've still got Brede playing downstairs, C4 in hand, he's waiting for the push to come through. Does he know about Joystick? Surely he does, but doesn't throw it. They're inside the site here. Does he just waiting for a default plant? Because guess what, Brede? You're in completely the wrong spot. Renshira can't see 4 Shepherd out. No one can stop him. The plant goes down due to maybe a slight miscalculation coming out of the side of BDS. A 4 versus 2. No way should they be able to lose this one, as Brede's going to try and challenge his way back up. They know where he is. Almost landing a headshot, but he's down to a slither of HP. One more shot, but he wins that duel out. 3 versus 2, and Brede looking to swing his way back into sight. One more downstairs. It's Dan for himself, and Brede, sadly, at 1 versus 3, probably shouldn't be the amount of time that you need to make this kind of player. Maybe 10 more seconds more, it could be a different story, but something tells me here he's not going to be able to net 2 kills and get the defuse off. Empire should take round number 3. There we go, and we'll see if BDS can repeat what they did in Aviators. They've returned to this site to take a win here to balance things out at 2 apiece.
Do you want to know what is amazing about that round? Is both teams played it right. BDS lost, but both teams played that right. It was just that Empire planted on a hard breach area. You cannot C4 where that plant went down. In fact, it's one of the only places where you can plant, which cannot be C4 from below. So it came down from the fact that they gained trophy control all the way from Astronomy. Once they walked in, they had trophy control. No one could challenge them on the long angle. So of course they're going to plant in the bedroom doorway. Of course that's exactly what they're going to do. And you've got 2 players below with two C4s ready to go. You've got 2 Maestro camps still up, not destroyed. So that's the perfect opportunity for BDS to play vertically. But it just came out of a simple plant on a hard floor. Boom, you walk away with the win, easy as pie. I mean, it's coming down to such tiny, tiny elements and tiny, tiny factors like that. And that's what makes this such a cool grand final already, because little things like that are going to change an entire round, an entire matchup, an entire map.
Dare I wager it was a plan bait as well, because otherwise why send 2 charging their way inside a trophy when you know that the plant is going to go down elsewhere? Now maybe you have the horizontal angle to help cover the planter, sure. It still felt like a lot to invest. One, a player running into the default plant spot inside of trophy, and another one holding the angle a bit further at back, while you kind of creep just inside the master door. Either way, big brain play by Empire gives them their second attacking round, and normally we'd be commending teams at this stage and saying, well, 2 attacking rounds on Villa. That's what you come to expect, and you've got that inside 3 rounds. Wonderful start. Let's see how round number 4 goes, mind you. We are repeating that site once more. Maybe for BDS here, there's a small change to be made. They had 2 playing below with C4s in last round. That's something we commended BP for and somewhat lamented BDS for, with not being too aware of the vertical play. I think it's very fair to say this is a massive improvement for them in the space of a couple of days on this map. Renshiro definitely improving himself with 2 kills, making a 3rd as he swings onto Scyther. And hey, this round's going to go flawless. It's swinging back the other way, it feels like, as Renshiro finds a 3K, sees one more, makes it a quadra kill. And for BDS, well, 4 kills for Renshiro in round 4. Chat, you know what key to be pressing right now.
They gifted Renshiro. It's like Christmas has come early here today. They're like, oh, here's a kill, here's a kill, here's a kill. Oh, and here's also a buck walking in, not looking at you. Even though we just droned you, we won't tell our teammate where you are so that he looks the complete opposite way, and then we'll gift you yet another gift. That's all the Christmases come at once for Renshiro, to be honest. I don't know where the other 5th kill came from, but it was a good headshot nonetheless. And I'm sort of questioning there. Empire did so well on a couple of their attacks now. How could they zoom a drone all the way up pantry, look Renshiro dead in the eyes, and then the buck comes walking in from laundry and looks the other way? Is there a little bit of miscommunication? I don't know, Des, but that was really strange.
For a team that we normally commend on the drone play as well, it was something to behold. Anyway, round number 5, we still are going to dance around those downstairs sites. We're not going to see them come to the fore at all. The two teams doing all they can to play the floor is lava with the downstairs sites. Instead, we go back upstairs with Aviator and Gaines coming back in. So far, it has been this tit-for-tat trade. Empire take the first round of the site, BDS adapt to come back in the second. Will we follow the same trend? Because if so, Empire walk away with 3 attacking rounds. A massive success for them given how this has started.
Oh no, there's going to be a landing Banshee, and there's going to be a mid-red stairs Banshee as well, and there's going to be 3 ADSs. Now, if you've ever seen a team fortify one player as heavily as that, then I'm happy to be considered wrong, but I've never seen a team that goes, hey, our big hitting player, our big impact fragger is playing red stairs. Do you mind if we put like 90% of our defensive utility right next to him so he stays alive for as long as possible? And Shaiko goes, yes, look at me, I'm heavily fortified, let's go. I don't imagine them flushing him out anytime soon.
They're using the one they mentioned, but that I mentioned earlier on, that I think it was Virtus Pro when they were game against them. This is what BDS ran when they had the one at the bottom. We didn't see one at the top at the same time, I don't think. But yeah, this is literally putting Shaiko in a bunker and saying, watch out, there is a... Well, I'm not going to say it's an aimbotting machine, but it's basically someone who's going to have to click on any heads that walk around the corner. I was like, what can you say here? Like an automated machine gun that never misses? It's an aimbot. But it's not obviously what Shaiko does. He's just that damn good at the game. You've got Scyther once again, I imagine that is contesting outside of Wolf window, one playing on the stairs below. So Empire is setting up for the same sort of attack, but are probably aware they've got to deal with quite a lot of utility that's been dumped in this corner. The first flash comes out, isn't consumed by an ADS or by Shaiko. He's in a pretty powerful spot here, and all I'm waiting for is the right moment for him to get the call, to swing, pick up some kills, and this could be disaster for the side of Empire. There's the first one onto Scyther. That's Wolf window cleared. There's one more out to the right-hand side playing on drones, but at this point, nothing to worry about. As long as he sits here, Shaiko is the gatekeeper to the site.
Empire need to stop peeking him one by one. I know they were trying to hold a shallow angle, but that is not the play. I don't think they've cooked any of the ADSs, and now they'll start to. There's one, and well, they're going to have to keep going and going and going. This pinch push is coming out. That grenade sailing out signals to me they're not even aware how many ADSs he has with him. Multiple Banshees that will give away the position of the Ash pushing below. Red Shiro's there to help out. And I tell you what, BDS, they just need a couple of rounds to, warm up, I think, Des. I think they're ready to go.
Pretty much. It happens sometimes. We saw it actually on this exact map when BDS took the first 3 rounds against Virtus Pro on the defense. It did take time to warm in. And hey, Empire is saying, look, just because they've warmed up, it doesn't mean that we aren't either. They finally get rid of Shaiko. A second kill comes through. So as good as the round started for BDS, Empire are at least able to balance things back out at a 3 versus 3. But as we've touched on in every single round so far, time waits for no one. 30 seconds to go and they still need to get the plant down. You've got a couple of members of BDS wielding those C4s, holding quite far back, and you still have a Lem with those smoke canisters. Every single second that disappears, the rougher this gets for the side of Empire.
Oh no, had Rafal taken a more aggressive angle on that line, he actually would have been able to see the Maverick who was laying down. Missed opportunity, 10 seconds left. They're just going to have to run out of time here. Surely there's no way they make it in.
90 push coming through. They've completely changed up their attack, and all the way through they go. Rafal holding inside a vault gets picked off towards the bitter end as well. It was kind of a do or die, we have to make sure everything is perfect here. They played for the trade onto 1. They had Dan holding inside a study for any rotates back out towards Aviator. Beautifully played in the closing execute, but that round was pretty back and forth.
It seemed a little bit unbelievable to me that they happened to be able to get in, get that kill on the Billiards player, and then the Vault player exposed themselves to multiple angles. Especially when you're down on time like that, you could be absolutely certain that you would probably be able to get away with just hiding behind a door and playing that 0-second timer because it's a 7-second defuse. And at that point, you've got a 1v2 or whatever it might be if your player does go down inside. So a little bit of panic there from BDS, unwarranted panic as well. Lucky round there from Empire, but something that we don't usually see and something that BDS does not want to see, considering they are a defensive-sided team, especially during the major, is if Empire wins this attacking round and then they go onto their attack, they will be in a 2-round deficit on their weakest side. That is not good.
No, unless they can work some absolute wonders on the attack, which we've seen them do. What are you excited by, Jess? Talk to me.
Why are there 3 barbed wires like that? No, this is disgusting. This is like I've never seen a team commit so much. I said before they've committed so much to Shaiko. Now they've got 3 barbed wires.
I want to call him out for this. Alem on the interview said yesterday, we asked him about the reverse shields, what their thoughts on it is. Like, I don't know, I don't play shields, so I don't know why the guys do it. I'll ask them. Now he's the one placing the damn shields in reverse.
Where is he? Where is that?
Here, look.
He's trying to keep it secret. He's trying to keep it secret as if we didn't say it was for a certain reason.
Yeah. He's asked and seen the light, and now he's like, okay, damn, this is good stuff, guys. I'm going to start playing it now. Here we are. Let's see what happens. I love, by the way, how we've had a few players now switch between playing smoke for them. It's been a bit of a trade back and forth.
A bit of versatility. Don't mind if I do. And there are teams actually that are having more of the discussion that if a player's not feeling switched on that day, they will go to support. They're saying, I'm not hitting my shots, boys. I'm not hitting my shots. And someone else goes, well, I am. Do you want to give me the Jaeger? Do you want to give me the more aggressive role? Yeah, do that. And teams will do that more now, which is cool because players at this level are flexible. They are versatile with their operator choices. So why not?
I mean, ironic because Alem and Rafael have got 1 kill between the pair of them. I don't know if that was the point of conversation that was had. It's been quiet. Not all saying they're playing badly, especially when Ranshiro stepped up so far and got 6 kills for himself. Joystick's doing all he can to try and burn his ADSs out. Are they really going to commit to clearing this stat like this?
Yeah. This is their push. They do not want to deviate from this push because this is what they've dry run. This is what they've scrimmed. This is what they know. And if you deviate from that, especially as a Russian team, for the most part, you won't see that very often. Where did Shaiko go? Okay, he's decided to move up really aggressively here. That was not the play at all in my mind. And yet again, another flawless round incoming, possibly, Des?
Back and forth between these teams. I mean, that'd be the, what, 3rd flawless round if we get it in this round too?
Yep.
Liam.
Wow. I can't analyze that, my dude. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen, though. We don't have to analyze it because guess what? No flawless round here for Empire, and instead they have a whole minute to work with as they've dwindled away the BDS players. Big thing now is, do they have what it takes to get in behind Vault and get a plant down? We've barely seen any players from them throughout the major. I want to see more, but if they're going to do it via elimination, all power to them.
If they can get away with it, we'll see. They've got enough number stats up now for themselves in a 4 versus 2. Dan and Ranshiro going to heads, but with Ranshiro going down to low HP, BDS steps in, makes it a 2v1 and shuts down the Zofia player, gets a second as they try and push their way into Aviator. So no rotate for a 90 push this time from Empire. They wanted to do this pretty straight and narrow, go down the standard path of getting the default plant spot in behind Vault door. They're going for it, but do we see a C4 come on? In fact, no, Ranshiro is going for a big flank here. Knows one, but they also know where he is. He's got to win a 1 versus 2. Can he do it for himself? Orders a round end here. It ends here. Empire 4-2 on the attacking half of Villa put themselves into a commanding position going into the defensive side.
It seemed a little bewildering to me that he was able to get that plant down. I think Ranshiro still had a C4 in pocket. He was so far away from where the push was happening that it made a little bit of a nonsensical kind of vibe for me that he would stay over towards the main stairs. Why not rotate yourself over, get a C4 prepped in hand, ready to throw up over some of those rotates or those high holes they've made between side, and then you give yourself more possibility in a 2v2. So by not doing so, they did limit themselves quite a lot. They limited themselves down to forcing gunfights when Ranshiro was quite low HP. And that's okay, but what's not okay is that BDS now, 2-round deficit. You've got to be able to put rounds on the board now on a side that statistically is weaker for you. So I hope that they're not discouraged. And we did hear in the interview that they don't get discouraged. They crack a joke here and there. They lighten the mood. Alem said, we try and keep positive and every round's a new round. Well, we've got to see that here from them now.
Interesting out today as well, they've moved the Iana back over to playing with frags. Yesterday against Virtus Pro, we saw them bringing smokes on that more often than not, so they still have the execution tool given that they banned the ace away. That also really helps admittedly with their living and library assault, so maybe it's more specific to that site, but we did also see them use it once onto their attack of this site. If you remember, sadly from Virtus Pro, there was a perfectly placed smoke canister that completely ruined Brede, destroyed any chance of a plant going down, and won the round for Empire. With the mirror going down where it is here, it's almost like they're preparing themselves in anticipation of an attack coming into Aviator and just saying, look, play with the mirror. We swing out, we get our spray downs, we play for our C4s. Let BDS play the game they want to. Wallace deny them when it comes to trying to go for the plan.
Oh no, the dreaded ACS is back. The joystick dreaded ACS. It sounds like a Dominion of Hell every time he shoots that damn weapon. I hate listening to it, personally. And he said in the interview yesterday, his teammates also hate listening to it. So I think he's very much alone in his own ACS bubble. He makes a lot of lines of sight with them. He makes a lot of rotates and holes and whatnot with it. And I've seen him get some pretty damn good long-range shots with it on Oregon, for example. That double mirror setup, we can't ignore it. I know you spoke about them going, okay, we know exactly where they're going to play it, so they're setting it up for like 100% aviator take. But this is a terrifying mixture of mirrors. There's one with the soft wall, which would allow them to throw a C4 over it. There's one which will allow them to quick peek on a hard surface. There's a lot of commitment here.
Just a little bit. We'll see how effective it turns out to be, because BDS, surely, if you're scouting that out, you're thinking, right, guys, we need to do what Empire did in round 5. We need to go for this 90 push and go for an assault inside of game instead, because Aviator simply off limits unless we can do some work from below. So maybe that's another thought process for them. The vertical play might play into their favor. We'll see how the round progresses. Given that we are halfway through, mind you, you would expect some good progress to already be made in deciding on what the game plan is going to be. But for the most part, I think a lot of it has just gone into saying, let's get the top side of the map cleared out.
I saw them rotate Brune out, and I think they know that someone's playing hatch corner here, and perfect grenade from below. He'll explode alongside the hatch. And that's a Lambs getting a beautiful kill onto Dan. The problem with Dan now being dead, it's all up to Scyther to keep the southern part of the map in control of Empire. If they lose that, all of a sudden you have no possibility to challenge the vault door other than C4s and smokes, which is not what you want to rely on.
I really would have thought Scyther would have seen that as well. The second grenade coming out to get rid of the Evil Eye that was planted just to the left-hand side of the window. So removes a little bit of that information that was feeding inside of Aviator in case the plant does come through. It would have been ready, but you peek. Okay, they step out from him behind the mirrors and actually go for a challenge quite directly and lose it out. No surprises there. Always without a C4 is now going to go for absolute spray downs to close it out. He almost brings Rafale down, but with a slither of HP left, he's now getting off the plant. And with no C4s, this is panic stations for Empire. They've got to go aggressive. They're somewhat smoked out. A team kill comes in for BDS, the first death on their team this round. It's a 4 versus 2 in a post plant. Something tells me Empire are not going to get the chance to hold on to this, Jess.
Oh, what a beautiful and well done job there by BDS. Them rotating everything over to study, taking study control and just going, we can do this if we have the study control, just solidifies to me that they identified that those mirrors would be a problem. They said, here's a solution, just like they did against VP last time they played Villa. They said, we have a problem, let's identify a solution. It was Rafale who came up with it then. Not sure who came up with it now, but you could tell the rotate call came out the moment that Brune had to rotate himself entirely from bedroom all the way over to study, and they said, this is how we want to do it. Smart play. I don't know what else to say other than you could tell BDS can adapt on the fly. They've prepped themselves early, and that all culminates into a nice mixture. What's going on?
6 of 8 rounds on this map have been on Aviator games. The teams are very, very passionate about Aviator games, Jess.
Let's bring up, because I already spoke about BDS's site stats, at least here in the EU major, and then we go pick Empire, we go to defense, we pick Villa, we scroll down. Oh, yeah. Huh. Okay. So they've never played Living Library and they don't like it. Fair enough. Most teams outside of VP, no problems. The one time they played Dining Kitchen, they won it. So might not be a bad site for them. They don't like Statue and Trophy. They lose it a lot, even though they play it a lot. And their primary site is Game Room and Aviator, which they've lost a couple of times and only won. They've won less than they've lost. So I just think for them, they don't know which site would work best for them, to be honest.
Well, if anyone's ever curious how Aviator games can be played, then I guess this is a fair example of how different teams like to play it, because you've seen different setups, different attacks in nearly every single round, whether the attack came down through Aviator or was down 90. We haven't really seen a study take, which I think was the air quotes old way of doing things, where the intent was to get the wall leading into Aviator open, try and make your push happen. But with a lot of teams playing on main stairs, which is very kindly being highlighted by our observer here, I'm not sure if it's easy or medics, I won't lie. But with the shields that you normally see make study a lot harder to take control of. So understandably, that's not become really a popular push anymore, and that northern take is definitely the way to go. An attempt to jump out from Scyther, but guess what, Shoko? Just a bit too ready for that.
He jumped out from the top window when they were meleeing the bottom window. That's an interesting one. I don't mind a bit of, heavy aggression early on, especially when it's going to take them off guard. But there were multiple players out there that were trying to obviously deal with that window and deal with that push. That's a very long range Ash charge, which I believe is meant to dispatch with one of the shields that teams commonly play in the corridor. Instead, it means that Always is just going to use his C4 as well, and no one's actually repelling on the window, so that would be a bit of a waste, but he pockets it in the end. And BDS, they look like they want to hit the site with a bit of speed. Fair enough, Empire did the same. They're going to have to be careful. They want to keep this man advantage.
I'm just enjoying, especially for 1 or 2 members, and I know for 11 it's been a big part of the game for them, the vertical play that BDS have been deploying. The grenades coming from below, the, I suppose, awareness they had of their first time playing this map back on Friday when they got bullied by Virtus Pro from vertical angles. They've kind of realized, okay, actually, Villa, it's a map we're going to play behind the verticals on a lot more because it works so well for them. We can absolutely do the same. And again, it's been really good seeing them kind of evolve on this map over the last 3 days with their counters to things that certain teams do to kind of growing into the map more. Really happy what I've seen from BDS, and to me puts to bed I think the assumption or statement many would have had that they are a team that is quite static, that they will do the same thing because, well, if you don't lose, there is no onus on you to change. Whereas at this major, they have been tested, they have been pushed, and that's always great to see.
Well, we know that the Giants can be dethroned, and they were in that previous matchup against Empire yesterday. If you missed it, you can go back, you can watch it. It's on the YouTube, it's on the Twitch. R6 Esports, etc., and Rainbow Six on Twitch. So go back and have a watch of it because Team Empire dismantled them. And to come in today against those foes who knocked you off your perch and say to yourself, it's okay, we've got this, we can bring it back because we are technically the best team in Europe. I want to see that. They're still a round deficit at the moment, but it's just the first map of a best of 5.
Ooh, Brede trying to push his way into Study, and Dan a little, I don't want to say so much aggressive, but definitely pushing up aggressively towards Study. Gets swung on by Renshiro, who's pushing down the other side of 90. Did want to get himself back to site, I think, but no real option to get away with that. Rafal going for the plant, but a C4 comes out to deny it. 3 versus 2 for Empire, 3 versus 1 as they found the kills that they need. This is them moving up to 5 rounds on the board as they take round number 8. Once it comes down to execution time, BDS not able to deliver the goods here.
It was smart to play it behind the maps table as well because it had the least vertical angles opened up from below, and they didn't quite have a lot of presence below. So if someone had a ran down, and that would have been a little bit of deja vu for BDS. You remember, who was it, Milon, who ran below and denied the plant on Villa the other day. And so they didn't want to repeat that. So they tried to find a spot that didn't have any vertical holes opened up, but it didn't matter. There was a C4 waiting to go. And had the 90 or the classical hall player challenged at the same time that C4 was going to be thrown, things might have been different. And so this is a game of mere fractions of mere seconds, and unfortunately, consistently a little bit, they've been going into the way of Empire rather than BDS. So I'm not saying BDS's attacks aren't strong. They are, but we're seeing 2 really big hitters go head to head here, and Empire are just that little bit more perfect.
Just a little bit. I mean, if they get the second round here, that's the number of rounds that we saw BDS take on their defense, which would put us into a very worrisome spot going forward. 6 and 3. You know, suddenly BDS's map choice doesn't go the way that they anticipated. However, well, I say the way they anticipated. They're going to Villa, a map they've hated all year long. But we see this quite a lot. And in fact, I think we commented on this back on Friday, is that when it comes around to best of 3, sometimes you will see teams take each other's map, and then it goes through to that third and final map to determine who walks away the winner. It's really interesting seeing how that changes. So maybe even with the history and context around this map, it isn't all that surprising.
I wouldn't be surprised if teams, especially at this level, win each other's map. None of that would surprise me whatsoever. And in fact, we used to see it in the previous season, even before the iteration of EUL. It used to be that thing where, in a best of 3, teams would win each other's map for some strange reason. And it was just because the teams played more free. They weren't quite as stuck into their strats and therefore not quite as adaptable. And so I think in this particular situation, it's not quite like that. I'm not analyzing it like that. What I'm more saying is that Team Empire are having better timings than BDS. They're getting away with a lot more, and they're being just that tad more coordinated, I think. And that's what's reaping them the rewards here.
A good couple of setups coming out of Empire in this defensive round as well. This has been, I think, the go-to hold that every single team has employed in the site all major long. A couple of ADS is set down inside of Astro. You have a couple of shields inside there. I believe Virtus Pro Cosmos broke a record, but with a team that deployed 3. Here there is only 1. Normally you'd see one more closer to the bathroom from Cypher's current position, more towards the end of the black box, and another one also just in front of the rotate that leads back into sight. So here with just the one, as soon as that disappears, Cypher probably needs to get out of dodge and not be looking to play too aggressive. But Empire most definitely not investing as many members into the Astro hold as what we saw out of BDS earlier on.
They really need to get rid of this shield. They are going to have to cook those ADSs. There's no way around it. Okay, Scyther might get a little bit, too quick to the gun and he'll peek over the shield and give away his life, but you can't bet on him doing that. You can't bet on him being overly aggressive, throwing away his life when he has the shield to play behind. The best way to deal with him would be to grenade or impact from below. I don't see anyone in a position to do that, and actually Always is below instead, so he might get a free C4 onto Striker.
Marley, I was going to say, he has been downstairs Always for the longest of times now. And I'm thinking, okay, when does he make his move? When does the call come through to come and C4 inside a bathroom? The opening kill came out from Dan, but either way, this trade's coming back and forth between both sides. That C4 does connect, and it's on to Shoyoko, who was down but not out, but it's still a completed kill. 4 versus 3 for Empire, 45 seconds to go.
This is the power position here. Joystick, Elder in hand. He needs to hold off on bathroom. Can he? Not really. Some shoulder shots coming out on a Renshiro, and oh no, he needed to have connected those because there's only one smoke babe left. Shepard's going to throw that one towards bathroom, and Dan's going to flip himself over towards bedroom door. And with 25 seconds left, I don't know, BDS, they're going to have to hit some wild shots, and they do.
Oh, Renshiro, stop it! 3 kills for himself before he finally gets put in the dirt. But this leaves Shepard in a 1 versus 1 against Brede. The support players that we picked up in their series yesterday coming head to head. 10 seconds to go, and Brede has got to make it happen now. He's going to try and go for a plan. Anything to keep match point at bay for a couple of seconds longer. Going to rush in, go for the kill. We're down to the final few seconds, but Shepard has just enough left. Empire move up to match point by the skin of their teeth in that closing round.
Where was that evil eye that was feeding that information? Because both teams now have fallen to the detriment of not destroying evil eyes. Both teams have had possibilities to plant, possibilities to get away with where their position is in the dying seconds of a round, and an evil eye almost every single time has given away their position. Now, I don't know whether it's because they're so focused on everything else that by the time they get close enough to sight, there's either not enough utility to deal with them, or it's just not one of their main priorities. But I mean, that round, if he hadn't been able to plant without being spotted, that might have gone a very different way. I'm excited to see a Frost. I'm excited to see dining and kitchen. Finally, we'll see a downstairs hold, which I expect them to do a pretty well upstairs kind of hold with it. But now that she has the ITA, there's so much more possibility for them to be able to do a lot more. No more Maestro either, so no ACS. I don't know what to expect here. I really don't know what to expect, but I'm seeing a few C4s. I'm expecting possibly a top floor hold out of this. They win this stairs, and it solidifies in my mind that Empire are looking hot today.
You told me 1 round ago that in the next round we would see Vigil, Pulse, and Frost all swapped in for the lineups that we've seen all map long. I'd have told you you're a liar and go away.
Yep.
They still have 3 C4s. They have the information from the Pulse. They have the Frost, I imagine, for the shield more than anything else. But we've spoken a couple of times around how she also brings that supplementary shotgun to help with terraforming the site. That's secondary in the ITA now available. And I believe, I can't remember, I think it was towards the back end of the regular season, we did see someone jumping into a Frost mat. It's happened a couple of times in National Leagues. We saw it once or twice in Challenger League as well. Turns out it ain't so rare anymore. It's not just a meme. Players do actually walk into them when they're so tunnel vision on doing other things.
Joystick, I believe, either ran out or threw a C4 exactly where he's looking now. It didn't do any damage, but they know now that laundry door's open. They know that Empire are probably playing it quite aggressively. And for him to be playing it quite aggressively with the SMG is a little bit of a laugh, I think, especially long range. You want people to be close range when you engage with the SMG, but that's okay. No one has taken damage, but what the damage has been done to Empire is that they don't have a C4 that they could deploy upstairs. There it is. Oh. He jumps into the bear trap, the first bear trap here that I've seen throughout the entire major, and he'll get finished off there by Always, and that's why you drone, ladies and gentlemen.
The beautiful Frost mat strikes. It's going to happen to someone at some point. Invisible Matty says, nah, you just jump straight into it. I agree, Shepard. No. I agree.
Oh, God, clap back.
Debris, whatever else it might be, he's dead, and that's all there is to say to it. It's 4 versus 2, Brede and Shaiko. Big clutch player on Brede. Shaiko, one of the big fraggers for this team that we always shout out about, gets a bit too aggressive for my liking. Brede shuts one back the other side, but this could be it. 3 versus 1. And Empire, if they win this round, they move up to not just series point, but to winning the entire major. They have to win one map. It would be map number 2 coming up next to see if it goes that way, given Empire walked in with that one map advantage. But there is still 1 minute and 10 left. Brede can take his time. He has a single drone left to look at that. They know about the angle. He knows that he might be watching him, and he'd be right. But no bullets come back against Brede, but Shepard goes down to about half HP.
If you're Empire right now, you play this safe. You do not throw this to someone like Brede, who has had some of the highest levels of clutches throughout stage 1 and stage 2 of EUL. You don't do that. You just play safe. You try and secure the round win, secure the map win, and throw yourself onto series point, as you said. This is it for Empire. This is what they've worked so hard to be able to do, to prove that they are back, that the Russian machines are well-oiled and ready to strike back. And I know Empire Strikes Back is the big meme that everyone's sort of talking about at the moment, but they're bringing this to fruition as we speak.
The worst thing is with the Pulse on side, they track literally every single movement that you make. They know where you are, they know where you're pushing, they know what's currently going on, and Brede is trying his best to swing in, but you've still got a shield to deal with here. 10 seconds to go. He's not going to find the kills that he needs. He does find one. Don't think he'll be able to find the next in good time and get a plant down at the same time, and in fact, a Pokeball comes out from Dan to close things out, and there's the boys in their celebration here. It's not quite as emphatic as you'd hope when the whole thing is won, because they know there is still work to do. But one map stands between them and that spot at the top of the table, at the top of European competition as being major winners.
You'd see a cheeky little smile from Joystick at the end there. Many players of Empire stepping up. You look at the scoreboard there. Renshiro yet again doing everything he can for BDS, but it's not enough, because guess what? Every single Empire member stepped up here on Villa, and that's what you want. It's a team game. This is the major grand finals. You cannot sit back and hope that the heroes on your team do the work. This is it. You got to put everything in the bag, and that's what Empire have done so far.
One thing you got to pray for here for BDS is a reverse sweep the whole way through. They cannot drop another map. If they want to win this, they need to go through all 3 maps that still remain for us if they're going to be able to take it. Else, for Empire has said, one more map, and this could be one of the shortest grand finals that we see. Anyway, let's go to a quick break. When we come back, the analysts will deliver you their thoughts before we get into our next map.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What an exciting map, number 1. We went to Villa, and in the end, it ended in a Team Empire victory, who are now up 2-0. We've been in this situation. Well, BDS have been in this situation before, so let's have a chat. Hap, Fluke, welcome to the analyst desk. First of all, Villa, correct me if I'm mistaken here, I'm neither an analyst nor a commentator or a caster. I don't know how this works, but it's not supposed to be attacker-sided as it was today, with Empire taking 4 rounds on attack in the first half, right?
No. Quick answer there. No, it's supposed to be a 4-2 split, yes. Not for the attack, however. For the defense is what we would normally be looking out for. But Empire, they were pretty strong. They were very confident as well. And I think that was the main takeaway point here. They weren't backing down, something we've seen them do throughout the major themselves. And they were able to shut down whatever BDS brought time and time again. A good example of that is basically that first round. They came in flying, flawless round straight off the back and managed to put BDS into their places. And, well, yes, Shaika was murdering players from the top of the red stairs multiple rounds in a row, but Empire didn't really care as they just continued to push on, get these plans down, and make sure that there's nothing BDS could do.
I think it's the thing about the breakdown of the map as well. As you said, Villa with an attacker-favoured swing goes against the rhythm of not only Villa, but most of this tournament. Generally, across all of the earlier games, Empire's included, they were heavier on their defense. They were having bigger games. Their very first play day, obviously against Tempera, where they played on Villa, was one where they, everything kind of fell to bits. They didn't quite have anything. But then you look at the follow-up matches on a club, you look on Oregon, they're putting down big numbers on the defense. So to have a swing round, I think that's a bit of a worry right now for BDS. Okay, Renshiro went big. He did that last time. But it takes more than just Renshiro going big. Alems and Rafal having an absolute nightmare of a game. It does not bode well when you look at Coastline, where you're looking at a very aggressive map.
Yeah, 7-3. I mean, look, Villa was played also as the first map between G2 and BDS in the Stage 1 major that we had over the summer in August, and that ended in 8-7 all the way in overtime for G2. So here, 7-3, Empire just completely wiping the floor with BDS in map 1. Unexpected, but again, BDS have come back from this before. Coastline, as you were mentioning, Fluke, is map number 2, which really shakes things up, because we all know the infamous Team Empire G2 Grand Final from SI, but things have shifted a bit since then, Hub.
Yeah, and there's a little bit more of a recent result on Coastline for Empire, and that was actually against BDS yesterday, where they managed to win in a 7-5 fashion. So Empire already managed to win this map twice. It is going to be the rerun there. Is there something that the support staff, Eagle Mace, for example, have been able to figure out so the players of BDS can work around that? That is the true question here, because otherwise I am seeing Empire take this one in a quick 3-0.
So what did you need to fix, actually? If you look at that Coastline between BDS and Empire in the upper bracket final, there was something where even BDS Alems in an interview was saying, maybe we got a bit too complacent. We didn't know how to really resolve them. We made a few tiny mistakes. How do you fix that today?
Oh, yeah, it was entirely complacent. And it was kind of the worry that we had with the map that we just saw. Similar beat, similar rhythm, similar slow pattern and play. Sure, BDS were able to put in some insane clutches on their defense, but they were never in control of the space. The possession was entirely Empire's. We saw a similar thing just there on Villa. BDS, they had these plucky moments. They had these attempted clutches because they have big clutch players, big clutch potential, but those big moments do not lead to map wins. However, we saw them spark to life in the second map of the previous best of 3, so you hope it's a momentum thing here. You look towards this Coastline and you go, BDS, please just wake up.
What about vertical play? Vertical play, Hap. Talk to me about it. This is something that was lacking, something that also BDS fixed when they played Villa against VP. Does it come back here in Coast?
Well, I mean, you can take yesterday's game as an example for that. BDS was very eager on trying to hold the top floor, especially when they were in kitchen or the bars, just to make sure that those vertical angles couldn't be created by a Sledge or a Buck. But every single time, almost every single round, they lost all their roamers that were playing up there within about 90 seconds. And that is not really ideal. It's not really optimal. You need to make sure that those roamers stay alive longer, or you're just going to have to forfeit the entire idea of making these vertical angles. We've seen teams in the past play a complete horizontal game with people in security, in office, in the bars, so you don't have to contest those angles.
Empire wins here or not? Fluke? Do they finish it?
BDS got to show up. Otherwise, if Empire keep doing what they've done, this looks like a very quick day for the Russians.
Stein?
Empire looked way more confident on Villa, and yesterday the scoreline 7-5 was closer than it actually was, so I say a 3-0 is in the making.
All right, let's see how that goes then. Empire versus BDS continues, and we're going down to sunny Ibiza in the winter, I guess, between our French and Russian teams. Some people are spamming wrench to help the French. Let's see if they can bring it back for yet another map. Jess, I choose you.
Spam the wrench to help the French. Is that really a thing?
It's in Twitch chat
incredible.
at the moment. Wow.
Cat, you never let me down. Fair play. Now, one thing I think it's fair to say, though, Jess, coming into a grand final, everyone thought BDS would be here. None thought they'd be staring down the barrel of a 3-0 against Team Empire, a team that's had this, I don't want to say rocky nature. The rocky consistency is the best way to put it. They've been this team that has always kind of middled. They've won, they've lost all the way through. They haven't gone on a storming spree like some other teams have. But one thing's for sure, consistency really does deliver because they are looking on fire so far. Villa, yes, it's BDS's weaker map. Empire still looked fantastic. So coming here into Coastline, I'm looking forward to a map where it's not going to be so sprawling in terms of map density. There's going to be less to deal with, but this is going to be interesting to see how the gunners on either side really stack up against one another and whether or not BDS can make some plants work on their attack in half.
Do they counterban or do they go with what they know? Because if they go with what they know, it's an Ace, a Valkyrie, a Nomad, and a Wamai, I think should be off the board as a whole. So if it's predictable, it's those four I just said going off the board. Instead, Thatcher will go off the board. Okay, now this puts a little bit of pressure on Team Empire because they're known for banning Nomad on this map. And whether they just stick to their guns and go, yep, we're getting rid of Nomad, we don't care that you've gotten rid of Thatcher, they'll do the same. I expect a Valkyrie and a Wamai to go out now because there's no need to change your defensive bans quite as intensely. I could see why the Thatcher went out. They start on defense, and a lot of their defense relies on a couple of shields, especially on Sunrise, for example, but it's going to be a mirror. Okay, they didn't like that from BDS on Villa. They said, nah, we don't want those mirrors anymore. Interesting. Okay, things are changing up a little bit.
Well, Empire are the ones to employ it themselves. If you remember the double setup coming in between Aviator, when we were on the Aviator site, actually they made use of it there too. Maybe not to the best effect. A couple did peek in front of it, but that's a thing. Last one from BDS, no big surprise at all, is going to be the Wamai. They're one of the first teams to popularize this ban around the world, and then many others started doing it. Even today, they're still swinging and banning it away when other teams do not. So we have our bans finished out. Into Coastline we go. Again, if Empire win this map, they win the whole major. They win the grand final 3-0. If BDS win it, well, this suddenly becomes a very interesting tale as we step back into their map pick, and it may come all the way down to map number 5.
Just having a little bit of a look at the compositions here, and especially the starting site. They're going to start on Hookah, and that's a pretty popular site. Outside of Kitchen, Hookah would be one of the primary bomb sites that teams look to go to. The fact that we have Valkyrie in, this interests me ever so slightly because, and I've got to double check my stats here to see exactly which team usually bans. Okay, it is Empire that would usually get rid of this on this map. So as a result of leaving the Valkyrie in, I would have expected them to then bring an IQ. They don't have it, and that's fair enough because Echo is not viable for this particular competition, this tournament. But if you don't find those evil eyes, or rather those black eye cams, then you're going to have a lot of problems very quickly. I don't want to say that it's going to be their kryptonite, but it very well could be.
Give it a good time to play it. I was just trying to kind of dig back actually because I can't remember exactly how the series played out between G2 and BDS last time. Was it a 2-0 that then turned into a reverse sweep, or was there a map in between?
No, complete reverse sweep.
Buckle in, ladies and gents. This could get spicy. So let's crack on and see how it plays out. I think a couple of times with BDS, one thing I've touched on over this weekend has been when the Wamai and the Jaeger has been not an option because the Wamai's banned away, they have defaulted back to playing on this Mute Mossy setup. Maybe not a map I'd look at and say that's a thing, but I think it's more for Alentu playing out on the Roam and normally supporting Shaiko on the Jaeger, which is what you're seeing come out here. With that Valkyrie available, also keeping a close eye on the information game that no doubt is going to come out for BDS, assuming they can nick a drone or two as well.
Whoa, what a fast entry there by Joystick. We praised him on it on Villa, but he's done it in really quick fashion here. He even used an entire breaching charge, or rather breaching Ash charge, to be able to open up the line of sight from double window all the way over into VIP. And now you could tell Shaiko was like, okay, I probably should have been there to help out my roaming buddy. I wasn't. I can't refrag in the position that Joystick currently is. And now they're giving up VIP really quickly. And because the site is hookah, if the ace can get a Selma on the wall and open up that line of sight to Cocktail, maybe even get another Selma on the roof of the quad wall, then things look really good for Empire, extraordinarily fast. I know it's coastline, but wow.
Joystick just takes no prisoners, man. He's just like, look, I don't care if you guys need my utility. I don't care if there are shields to deal with. 30 seconds in the round, someone needs to be dead, and I'm the man orchestrating that demise. On the last map, it was Shaiko coming up red stairs, as you mentioned. Here, it's Venshiro playing around inside a VIP, I think it was. Either way, it's a C4 off the board. It's another operator dead. Let's see how BDS can recover. But Empire, they've got the control. The one thing I'm keeping a very close eye on is timing. In the last map, a couple of times, they were in control, but didn't have enough time to close rounds out. Sometimes they made it work, sometimes they didn't. So that's what I'm watching for here on Coastline, a map that generally is a bit smaller. Your proximity to site is a lot closer, so they should be able to get some executes off here.
I think Joystick's aware that someone was nearby, and well, they've got a heck of a lot of this control over towards the northeast. They're trying to get some northwestern control as well. Alems will have a C4 below, so he actually would be quite detrimental for this push, depending what push they sort of go for. And I don't know whether or not there's going to be any of those Valkyrie cams on site, because if there are, they could feed him the necessary intel he needs. There's the one that would have going down to Shepard. And now he knows that he's going in blind. Joystick is the one that will challenge that C4 below, and it seems like Alems is playing cat and mouse with him at the moment.
Bit of a chase game. Chase around the map, my dear. Try and catch me. Shaiko goes down on the site of all places as well, I think, here. Not yet dead, but at least down and not out. And now that he can't deny, I mean, the smoke is there regardless. They can't really deny it. Empire just charging their way into site and looking for a plant here. Shepard going a little bit deeper. There's a C4 from below and also one playing at the top of Vaz right here. But Rafal loses that swing. The C4 comes out, but it's not going to be enough. Alem, the player that we spoke about playing vertically so often, has now got it all to do. Coming from below, pushing his way up. Going to find one, but can he find the next two? Dan and Shepard stand in his way as obstacles. One holding on big window and one, I think, trying to play for the upside down rappel in Aqua. This is a lot of work for him to get done. Get losers out in the gunfight. Empire secure round number 1.
Oh, this tells a very, very bad tale here for BDS. And look, I wouldn't say between both of these teams that I would be biased in any way. When I came into the grand finals, I said to myself, who do I want to win and who do I statistically think will win? On my predictions, I put Empire. Empire looked so good against BDS, and BDS made so many mistakes mere 24 hours ago that I said to myself, if I had to tip a team to win, it would be Empire. At the moment, they're proving me right. I've cast a curse VP before. I'm sure I can cast a curse yet another Russian team accidentally. But I actually think, given how Empire are playing, that they are the team that has the consistency, as you spoke about before, round after round after round, to be able to walk away victors. And it might have been Hap who brought it up. You can't be relying on those kind of big hitting players, or even Fluke. I think she brought it up as well. You've got to be consistent. You've got to have round after round, player after player stepping up. This is the major finals. This is not, a best of one regular series. This is it. You can't go any further.
What I hate was in the pre-game, I sat with Dev and he was saying like, no, you guys will stay with BDS. And I was like, no, I think Empire's going to win. I left my prediction in italics. I wanted to change it and forgot to come and do it. But what's even funnier is I've come onto the sheet and seen under Gio's name, she predicted BDS to win. But under that, in about 12 cells in our spreadsheet, has put in all caps, I feel guilty about this and want to be proven wrong. And she even inside the actual BDS cell where she said BDS, she's put, wow, because I think she feels bad, like, whatever feeling you had, Gio, always back your team is all I'll say for that one, because it looks like Empire are en route to win. That first commanding round definitely puts a lot of hope in them for the rest of this map. We'll see if BDS can get that momentum swing that we so often speak about in best of 3 and best of 5 series. We're back on the same side once again. A couple of changes coming outside. But interestingly, I think after they knew the Valkyrie was a thing, I said, look, it's time to start bringing the IQ along to deal with those.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I can see that there from them. They're not afraid. We used to speak about Team Empire just running the same attacking composition no matter what.
Oh my God, not again.
Not again. Oh no, it's a riddle.
Valkyrie the cursed operator.
Yes, you don't want that if you're a Lems, and we've actually spoken about a Lems a lot of the times. Oh, this is not good, by the way, for BDS in any way, shape or form. Both the Lems and Shaiko have been able to do almost nothing for the first round. Now they'll get to do nothing for this second round. the reason I wanted to point out, at least for Empire, is that they're usually so static and they stay so stagnant with the way that they have their compositions. For them to move an entire operator and to have it as a key role of being that Valkyrie cam finder shows me that they're willing to adapt if they need to, and that's very important.
What I really admire about Empire is they've had very limited changes during what has been a very rough, year and a half for them. They were this dominant team that everyone knew as the team that never changed. They always played their style and they played it better than anyone else, which is how they won. And then teams started figuring them out. And for the longest time, they have struggled to adapt themselves to deal with that style of gameplay. But here, and I know it's only one pick, but you even saw it in terms of how they changed up their attacks and some of their defenses on Villa just a second ago. They change a lot, and things aren't changing here for BDS. It's going from bad to worse. Joystick finds itself a couple, Scyther twin round for the final. Empire close out round number 2. And I was going to say the worst thing of all, this was their map pick. You're coming into Coastline, a map where attackers tend to do quite well. You don't care which side of the map you start on. Empire are full of beans right now.
You say that it's Coastline and, it is one of the most attacking-sided maps. Let me give you a little bit of facts here about Team Empire. Team Empire on Coastline are more defensive-sided. They've had far more success on their defense statistically than they have on their attack. Now, what does that tell you about how they're performing right now, right here? Come on, Des. I got to hear you, brother. I got to hear your thoughts on this.
You know what? I'll be dead honest. I was actually scribbling down notes on what operators have been picked.
I'm gonna put this out for all of the viewers out there. Yeah, I'm going to out you publicly to how many tens of thousands of people who are watching right now.
Tell them the story. It's a cool story.
I said to Des the other day, and I'll make this story rather quick. I said, sometimes I'm having a conversation with you, and then you go off on a complete other tangent mid cast. And he said, I'll be honest, Jess. Sometimes I just am focused on something completely different other than what you're saying, and then I realize I've forgotten to listen to what you say, and all of a sudden you finish speaking and I don't know what you've said, and I kind of just hope that I can wing it. And that explains why he does repeat a lot of the things I say. So I appreciate you not listening to me, Des. It is very heartwarming.
What can I say? Your voice sometimes, it just becomes a bit too much for the old ears and need a rest. So I have to just kind of turn you down a little bit, mute you for about 10 seconds, and then we're good to go. So no, please do ask me again. I'm very engaged in this conversation and wish to respond to you, so please ask again.
Look, all I was saying was that Team Empire on Coastline statistically have shown that they're an extraordinarily defensive-sided team. So given they've won 2 attacks already, how does that tell you this matchup is very likely to go?
Yeah, I know it gives you the lean of it going that way. I don't know. We always say games are of 2 halves, and different teams coming up against different teams, games can completely change how they play out. A game of Empire versus G2 on this map may be very, very different to what we see from Empire versus BDS. So I'll stay as I'll withhold judgment is the way I think I'll put it so far, and we'll see how it plays out once we get towards that second half, because that could turn out to be for BDS that actually they completely steamroll their way over Empire the way they did Vitality back at the start of stage 1. They burst their way into the building every single round and decimated Vitality no matter where they were on the map, and I'm wondering if I'm going to see the same out of BDS today, or if that confidence might be a little bit shaky given the predicament they currently find themselves in. Either way, Alibi being brought along for a Lem here, so maybe not quite ready to gravitate towards a Frost themselves. That has kind of been the go-to replacement here. Rather than bringing an Alibi, a lot of teams are turning towards Frost. Same shot, well, not the same shotgun, but a shotgun to do some terraforming. Able to get on the map and cause trouble. Got a pretty decent gun. The gadget definitely ain't bad either. And it also brings that shield if you want it as an option.
Oh, this is beautiful. A single foot forward and Shaiko will very likely lose his life here. Always is read into the fact that they are doing a 90 shield hold. Dan's read into the fact that there is also a lobby hold, and wow, how he got away with his life there is absolutely beyond me. And if he does manage to win this, then that is even further beyond me. But no, Dan says, I've had enough of this back and forth with Red Shiro down in Lamborghini front door. He's going to rappel up to White Window instead. And is that a DMR or is that just a funky barrel there?
You're hoping a funky barrel, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, they've picked up a completely new gun. Yeah. I love the ARX. It's a very, very accurate weapon. It's got high damage as well compared to the AK, who has a lot of bullets and very high recoil. Not sure exactly where this is going now as we're hitting the 45-second mark of the round, but it's pretty much going in Empire's favor by the looks of it. And it's been so frag heavy. Whoever's observing right now, shout out to you for being able to capture all these kills, because I have no idea what's going on in any side of the map anymore. It's just a flurry of kills.
They've turned on hardcore mode here to try and keep it going. Of course, it's Medics as well as we hear his lovely Croatian accent speak out to us. Renshiro's on a 3K with a wonderful run out, though. 1 versus 1. And you know what? Always, he has not moved a foot this round. He has basically sat above the same hatch the whole time. And with the plant being down, Renshiro has completely the wrong idea. Surely he's heard him step forwards. There we go. 3 kills for Always. I believe that was from above. And Renshiro with the 3K himself. Not quite enough to close out the round. Empire 3 for 3 on the attacking half of Coastline.
I'm sitting here because I'm in two minds, Des. One mind and one half of me says, please reverse sweep at BDS. This is a grand final. That's what we want. We want this to go the full 9 yards. We want to see everything. We want to see all the stamina, all of the great plays, the nutty shots. And then the other half of me goes, you know what? I want to see Empire redeem themselves as some of the biggest hitters in the world. Do you remember back to the very intense G2 Empire rivalry? You know, back when we were at SI and we were watching them just slog it out on this exact map for 20 plus rounds. I mean, for me, I want to see Empire redeem themselves. I think they've finally gotten to a position and a comfortability on roles where they can do that. But I also feel really bad for BDS because they are one of the best teams in Europe. I just don't know what's going on with them this major.
This is the kind of... I don't want to say something about Siege because you see it in a lot of games, I think, where consistency just evaporates sometimes. BDS throughout the regular season, through the last major, back in stage 1, were hands down the best team. Did that mean that they went absolutely flawless and 9-0'd their way through the stage? No. They lost a couple of games in the second stage. I think they lost one to Na'Vi, for example, and they drew against Vitality. They've had struggles along the way. Teams can figure them out. On the different day, you can add a 15% performance modifier to any given player based on how are they feeling that day, how's the preparation gone, how confident are they feeling, did they get a good night's sleep. There's just so much that weighs into it. But Empire have turned up as the team today that are switched on, and I wouldn't say BDS haven't shown up. It's just that Empire looks so much stronger right now.
Their entries have been rather infallible. You and I spoke about this yesterday. We said that they had almost every single attacking round, and I can't remember which map, so please enlighten me if you do remember, but they had almost every single entry on a particular map yesterday, and it was unbelievable. And they might get that yet again. Shaiko, he's not been, you know, a lot of people say Shaiko activated, you know, that's what we're looking for, but he's just been deactivated this entire match so far.
He isn't given the same agency, I think, to hold an extended area of the map in comfort and cause trouble. Like, look at last round when he was holding 90. You had Always looking through the drone hole, waiting for him to step forward. Empire just know where he is and they're able to deal with it. What I do like is that at least for Alem here, stepping across to the Vigil, they used this in a couple of their games yesterday, I think, in a couple of rounds at least, where his sole objective was to just play off Shaiko and for the two of them to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. In fact, one round on Villa, Shaiko died on red, no problem at all. So what did they do? They had Alem playing on Mozzie, holding side Wolf window, and just contest anyone that peeked it. They can double down on aggression. That looks like what they're trying to do, because even Rafal is going for the extended hold with Bandit here alongside him. But it doesn't stop Dan getting the opening kill. Renshiro the first to fall, and that is such a critical pulse pick. Shaiko banged out by Always. My God, this is just too easy. The first couple of kills in every single round are 4 in the way of Empire. Make it the third. I thought it was the fourth, but no, it's Rafal to bite one back onto Always, still holding that top fragging spot. The question is, how much time can he waste? He's on the top floor. They have one player on site. Wonderful long-range shot onto Scyther, 3 versus 2, and we've still got 75 seconds left to play. He gets tagged out, and I'll absolutely agree with you, Jess. Commending to Medics here for catching every single kill that's coming onto your screen. Breeda's got to do it all by himself now into a 1 versus 2. We always say that he's used to these kind of situations, but hasn't had too many clutches so far in this major. Can he bring down Dan? Can he bring down Shepard? We'll find out in the closing 55 seconds.
Taking a deep breath here because Bride is a big clutch master, but he's got the inferior weapon to really do it with, especially long range. Both Dan and Shepard, they're thinking things through, and Dan saying, well, I'll deal with this problem with bullets. Grenade's still in hand as well, mind you. He actually didn't even get into position to be able to use any of that utility. And that round very clearly, very decisively going into the hands of Empire. I'm shaking in my boots because if I'm a BDS fan right now, I'm saying to myself, none of what BDS has put on the board here in this first half of Coastline gives me any hope that they're going to be able to get this reverse sweep kicking into gear. I can't believe we're even saying this about BDS. I can believe we would say that Empire would be quite strong, but I can't believe we're saying that that BDS is getting wiped off the table. It's unheard of.
I'm sure Geo is just like a pool of excitement, energy, euphoria right now at home, where she sat looking at this game as well with absolute excitement that Empire are doing so well. But let me pose a thought to you, Jess. What would you say if we flipped this round? Say a month ago in a game of VUL on Coastline, it was these two teams against each other, remove the name tags and say that Empire are BDS and BDS are Empire. Would you say that would be a fair assessment of how a game should be going, where BDS are 4-0 up on Coastline?
Yes. Regardless of the map.
Whereas here, the exact opposite is taking place. It's crazy.
It does feel like the name tags are mixed up, that we've got the wrong teams at the top of the board on our overview here. We have to credit Empire. We really do have to credit Empire. We have to credit their support staff as well. There's a lot of content they've been putting out where their support staff are involved in it, and you can really get an inside look as to how their team operates. They've been spending a lot of time at their team house and grinding over and over with their strats, with their plays, with their roles, joystick moving from frag on defense to full support. They've put a lot of work into this. So if there's a team that probably has made the most changes and done the most work to be able to get this kind of victory, it's probably Empire.
Ooh. All right. Well, let's see how round number 5 plays out. If there is any hope for BDS, it's got to be established here with a round in round number 5 and maybe one in round 6 at the same time. Joystick's doing his thing, crouch walking his way through. It's not quite a red stairs as it was on Villa, but he is trying to find out where these members of BDS are. And I think for BDS now, there is a certain reservation to their playstyle. They're no longer holding out inside Penthouse and Theatre, looking to play on the roam and causing trouble early at Windows, for example. Instead, they've pulled most of their players back to site. Even Shaiko is being reserved and holding inside of Aqua right here. So they want to hold these locations down, just say to Empire, look, all right, you win on the roam game. We can't contest you there. Let's see how all this plays out when it comes around to site executes.
I also want to give a shout out to Always. He's been hitting the shots with the C8 like an absolute god. You see him feature up on the roof very early on in a lot of these rounds to be able to hold the rotates and apply pressure. So I think that's why BDS have decided, let's not roam, because when we rotate back, we get caught off. A lobby hold is absolutely essential, I think, because they know that Empire has been pushing over towards lobby. They've been placing someone at the lobby double doors, so to have someone there to at least challenge it is important. But that's probably why a lot of these players are sticking closer to site, because they're being caught out on the rotates back to side.
Makes total sense. I mean, admittedly in the last round for BDS, it was more of a heavy committal to Penthouse and Theatre. Very big Dinar, well, big attempt at Dinar with the Bandit being brought along at the same time. I'm all for down for a different change of scenery, though. Dan's got himself inside. I think that's the first opening kill that BDS are going to find in this map so far. Everything else has gone the way of Empire thus far. So a small moment to pause and breathe for the side of BDS, knowing they brought down Joystick, but you still got to deal with the likes of Dan and Always have been popping off on this map as well.
Things are still looking good here for BDS to snag their first round on Coastline here. It's 5 rounds in, so you would want to hope that they can walk away with at least one defensive round before the halves switch. And, oh, Shaiko, he'll barely walk away with a tiny bit of his life in his hands, but he's done the damage onto the big hitters of Empire, Joystick and Dan going down. And now, well, it's going to be Always Shepard and Scyther to clean up the mess.
With very little time to go, this is very reminiscent of one of the rounds that we saw back on Villa. They're going to have to peek aggressively to make kills happen, but Shaiko striking up second. They can't smoke him out. They can't kill him. This one should be a clear-cut round for BDS. Always is going to find a couple before he gets C4'd out as that clock hits 0. BDS will take round number 5 and make sure they don't go into the second half of this map staring at match point every single time.
We're asking BDS to do a complete best-of-5 reverse sweep. We're also asking BDS to not let Empire on this singular map force them into a reverse sweep on their second half. So there's a lot of pressure on BDS right now, and a lot of people are probably sitting there going, hang on, Jess, BDS monsters, unstoppable in the regular EUL stage, both stage 1 and stage 2, unlike the story of Rogue, unfortunately, but they've been consistently top players. Why have they come into the major, and why are they doing technically so poorly? Oh, I've got 2 answers for that. One, they're not really doing that poorly. Empire are seriously just better than them today. They are seriously so much better than them. It is very hard to quantify in a couple of sentences, but that's my overarching storyline here. And number 2, I think Alem's put it really well the other day. It was on the first day. You and I had casted their match, and he said something to the effect of, We wanted to be too perfect. We played like everything had to be too perfect, and BDS has never played that way before. They've always played in their comforts. They've always played, and things have just naturally worked for them because they've played so well. They've come into the major, they've tried to be too perfect, and by trying to seek perfection, they've done the opposite.
It's a conversation I've had with a couple of coaches and analysts a few times, actually, is, you know, there's a world where Siege is like a game of chess. Everything is perfect. The moves are always the same. There's no variability. And others that look at the game as there is absolute variance. There are games where some players are going to step up and have the best game of their life, and that's a factor you can't account for. There's going to be someone holding one strange, weird angling around that completely upsets your strategy or setup. It's not so clear-cut as a game that you can play it like a game of chess where it has to be absolutely perfect. There will be variance on days, and I think that's what we're seeing here today is there's a great mix of strategy for Empire, but also just BDS not being at the form that we're used to seeing. Either way, there is still a big chance for a reverse sweep. Yes, they are down 4-1. Yes, some may be saying, oh, this is over, this is done, Empire win, whatever. Crazier things have happened in games of Siege in the past, and we all know the kind of games that we're referencing when we say that. See how the final round of the attack plays out for Empire. Again, for BDS leaning back over towards the sort of setup we've seen quite a lot. The Vigil, the Mute, and the Multi all coming along. So a lot of focus on denying away from Empire this drone-focused gameplay. Something that on maps like Clubhouse, we commend Empire as being very good at. Makes total sense to me.
They're going to get that Sunrise Wall opened up very early, bringing the Ace along to be able to do it. I've been mesmerized every time I've been watching Always, actually. I just consistently take Buck time and time again. It's not an operator you see a lot anymore because he has lost his frag grenades, but he uses it to complete skill. And it's really nice that there are still players that are willing to give Buck a go, even though he doesn't necessarily have those grenades to work with. They've brought a sledge alongside him, so that's 2 soft breach operators. But really what I think Scyther's job is to do is to have those grenades in hand, whereas Always has been doing really good on the C8, and he's been able to long range with the skeleton key. So there's variance here from Empire, and it's not something we're used to seeing from them.
Yeah, Buck every single round so far this map, and I think on the last map we saw it for quite a number of rounds coming out of them too. Reminds me a lot of Gorgona in the European Challenger League from Kavana Gaming, who we'll see at the European Finals. He swears by the operator. I asked him, he said, look, the gun's good, you've got flashes to burn through utility, he does all the right stuff for you, and if you want to blow a wall open and surprise someone, Skeleton Key is absolutely the way to go because you can do so from range, and there is no animation buffer after the hammer has been swung as you would have with a sledge. Opening kill comes onto Alem regardless. That's him down and out. Normally, again, the vertical player that plays below with the C4 will be shut down quite early here. I say early, it's actually quite late. 60 seconds remain, maybe early into the execute, you'd wager. Burst smoke comes out, almost tags down a little bit, loses about 20 HP, always the same sort of story. No one being dead, and a grenade comes singing in from Scythe. We spoke around the sledge and those verticals being opened up. They've now gone through all 4 of their frags and have found a kill from it. 5 versus 3. This is when they should be thinking it's time to go big. Time to close the round out. Shaiko and Bride find 1, but gets shut down after. 3 versus 2 of the plant is going down, but the player on Cool Vibes is doing enough. It's all down to Rafal to work some magic. He sees 1, brings down Always. 1v2 and has got to save this round for BDS, else the second half is going to be very, very uncomfortable for them. Looking through the vertical angles, should know that 1 is behind bar, 1 outside pool entrance. Might be a little bit too much for him to deal with here, but he's got very little time with which to make it happen. Sees 1 and injures Scyther, but Shepard is still standing. He knows where he is. He's got the indicator that he's outside. All he's got to do is sit and wait, and he's outside the window. Let him step inside, and this is the freest kill of your life. Doesn't want to get himself pre-fired, but almost does. Shepard down to half HP. C4 comes out. Not going to connect it, and even if he gets it down, would not have been able to have time to get the diffuser off. Team Empire win round 6. They go 5-1. They are 2 rounds away from being the European Major Champions.
I have goosebumps in thinking to myself that BDS are going to walk away without a single map in a best of 5 in the grand finals. I didn't think you and I would be sitting here casting 1 for such a short period of time here in the best of 5 finals in any way, shape or form. Because mind you, if Empire win the next round, propel themselves on a match point, and let's say BDS gets 1 or 2 more rounds, that is nowhere near overtime. The first matchup between VP and BDS went overtime in every single map. All of the best of 3 maps went complete overtime, almost max OT for every single one of those maps. We're getting to the grand final here, and Empire are so dominant, are so incredible with their gameplay that BDS can't get a leg up anywhere. there's been no possibility for them to get those rounds culminated in a convincing fashion. And I am seriously concerned that you and it comes back to our cameras in the next 15 to 20 minutes, and we are staring at the camera going, so yeah, that happened.
Does feel like it's going that way. The only round the BDS won was when they played that kind of bunker setup with every single member playing on or around site. Anytime they've had a lem out on the roam, someone holding out towards Penthouse Theatre, Empire have always found the opening kill. 5 rounds, they got the opening kill. Only 1 round, that round number 5, did the lem get the opening kill onto Joystick. Either way, we're into the second half here. Let's see how things shape up. You said Empire defensively on Coastline, very, very strong. And I said to you in response, for a lot of teams, that can vary a lot based on who they're playing against. BDS might just bring the beans here on the attacking side, or Empire could put it to bed as said in just a couple of rounds. We'll see.
They're going to see a Valkyrie cam thrown out as well, so that'll be Renshiro's job to do, very much, and easily dispatch of that. So now they're going to be very aware that there are Valkyrie cams going to be splattered around. They've got one of the 3. You could see that Renshiro was looking around to see if there was another one possibly thrown out as the prep phase ended. They don't have an IQ to play with, which is fair enough, that's okay, but you also want to make sure you're consistently aware that they could be there spotting you over and over. We got that new ping 2.0. They could be yellow pinging you over and over, and you don't know anything about it. So I hope for Shaiko's sake here, he's able to get the Shaiko plays happening, hitting heads as he did on Villa. It's yet to be seen, really, and I am afraid from this defensive-sidedness that Empire has shown here on Coastline before. BDS have to dismantle it, and they have to do it in a confident fashion.
Joystick almost getting taken down, but no, it's always who's going to fall first. Alem, the only player to find the opening kill for BDS on this map so far. In both rounds, he's done it. And there's the sweep I was thinking we might see out of them in this half. They start out strong. 3 kills, nothing in response from the other side, although does swing out with a grenade. And hey, Shepard is also aware of how this plays out, given he has been the white window player for them on a number of occasions. Still leaves us in a 4 versus 2, and for Empire here, you're thinking, man, surely with 80 seconds left to play, they can't win a 2 versus 4. BDS can get the plants off here, no questions asked. Bride's got that in hand to keep a very close eye on him, but also be aware of the C4 in the hands of Joystick and the damage that he can do from below in Sunrise. Alem is holding aggressively. He's daring him to come pushing around. He thinks better of it, and now Joystick's left in a 1 versus 4. There should be no peace here for him. This should be BDS taking round number 7.
This seems almost impossible, and impossible it will be. And Alem's, his job was to stay below and make sure that none of those C4s rained up. Did a really good job there, BDS, in making sure that they got that entry onto Hookah. And what I liked was that they didn't spread themselves thin. Some teams, and in fact, Empire kind of did that a little bit, and they did end up meeting up over towards VIP, etc. They did sort of spread themselves across multiple parts of the map. And we often criticize that because if you lose one side of your shape, everything sort of tumbles down into a mess and you don't have the pinch you necessarily wanted to have. What I like from BDS is that they said to each other, we want Hookah. Here's how we take it. We don't really need to put someone over in Bedroom or over in Aqua. We just need to focus on the side itself. Empire threw themselves on, boom, you walk away with a round win. And that's a bit of a confidence booster, a well-earned and well-needed confidence booster for BDS.
Mission Serve is going to be the next side that we head over to, and Empire still wanting to keep things spicy, going to bring a clash along to the table. Curious to know where they're going to play that one, whether it's more looking to cause trouble around the doorway coming out of the corridor, or if they're looking out towards service entrance, or if they go even more aggressive and look towards holding upstairs, dropping down through the hatch when they feel that their time has expired. And given how much focus BDS put into the top floor, that looks to be exactly the same sort of play coming out of Empire. Reinforcements, mute jammers going down up there. I'll see if we'll see Clash join them up there. I think we might do. But at least for now, there is that's 2 jammers down upstairs now as well. Wow, they really are committing to this top floor hold, Jess.
There are a lot of teams who will say to themselves, we are going to do pretty much an exclusive top floor hold because we expect a team to want to get verticals and to want to do a service entry plan. And that's fair enough. If you invest everything to it, you need to have a contingency plan in case it does become a kitchen window plan. If our beautiful observer could let me know if there is some lines of sight from luggage over to the kitchen wall, there's only feet holes. Okay. So there's only feet holes on the wall. There's no higher holes, which means if they wanted to jump in, do a quick plan in kitchen window, they could. But given what BDS look to be currently doing, I think they'll do a clear.
I think you sort of have to in this instance. I mean, you can try and ignore it and go for a jump in, but we saw this coming out of BDS a couple of times, if you recall, where we'd have Bride jumping in through kitchen window, trying to make a plan happen without full control of the top floor and just being gatted down as soon as you tried. So for me, that has absolutely got to be where they start things off. Bit of an early preemptive C4 coming out of Joystick, almost like a warning rather than a kill intent coming out, because no one loses a slither of HP on the side of BDS.
He wants to challenge this so badly. You can see him. He just really wants to peek on up. The shotgun would actually be quite a viable weapon to do that with, but the SMG short range has the same effect. And, well, this top floor hold from Empire is something they desperately want to hold on to. Renshiro says, okay, you go hold theater, you go hold penthouse, I'm going to rip up the floor in VIP, and when I have to deal with you, if I have to deal with you, I will. And by ignoring them and saying that you don't matter to us yet, it will make Empire antsy, and surely it will make them peak, which is what BDS wants.
Oh, he's just constantly dipping his head back out to give them some information. Shaiko's trying to pursue Cypher here. He did get forced back by the flash a second ago, but still did good to hold firm for a short while longer. Empire successfully wasted about 1:40 here and almost killed a couple of members of BDS. It hasn't actually netted a kill for them so far, but look at the clock. The lower it goes, again, the more time it takes for that 6-man effect to come in for the defenders. A drop down from Always, and he's going to walk this one off. No one on main door to contest. He's out of there. They've wasted time. They've reduced health bars. Great play by Empire, and they still have 3 players out on the roam.
The fact they were allowed to rotate off without any punishment is shocking to me. I'm not saying there should have necessarily been someone watching the hatch from below, lobby double doors, but they should have punished BDS so much more than they did. And now they've got a 5v5 on their hands with about 30 seconds left. This is horrible for them, because if they try and go for a plan and they don't have 1 flank watch 2 time on their hands, things will not look good for them.
Shepard goes down as he gets blasted through from above. I believe that was by Renshiro. Yes, it was. Down he goes. Okay, so it's the first kill, the first bit of bloodshed here at about the 25-second mark. That still leaves so much more to be done. And admittedly, with that being the smoke, that is probably the most critical operator you could kill in these dying moments. Always going to go aggressive here as he's being shot from above, can do nothing else except push into Bride, who might try and stick a plant out here. But given he's being stared at, they've got to make it happen. If Always can deny him here, they win this quite surely. Turns around for the fight, tries to go for the 360, but can't make it happen. Bride is the last man alive, going for the plant. It's as simple as that for Empire. Walk up to service, shoot him in the back, and that's the end of the round. Empire now at match, series, and major points. One more round, all they need to secure this victory.
What an absolute story this has been for Team Empire. I think this sort of rewrites the upward trajectory that we've been slowly speaking about since, the quarter way through stage 2, and especially halfway through stage 2, they were dominant. And unfortunately had a forfeit against Vitality, but if they hadn't been able to play that match, they may have been able to secure 4 wins in a row. It's kind of the similar story we had with Tempera, unfortunately not here with us at the end here in the grand finals, but to get to the major to begin with is a pretty damn big feat. So for Team Empire right now, can we say that the big Russian machines that we knew from 2019 might be back in all of their glory? Very possibly.
I will always sit here as the pessimist, I think, and say we need to see delivery in the regular split as well. And a major performance, absolutely a way to get that kick started, to give the players some motivation, to remind them, look, we have successfully adapted. We are beating all the other teams in EUL. Excellent. Let's start turning that into regular season results with a lot of successive wins and even bringing down the Titans of BDS in that best of 1 format. Ultimately, though, no one is going to remember a best of 1 in the regular split. What they will remember is that BDS lost 3-0 to Empire in the grand final. And say what you want, that scoreline will never disappear. Here we go then with potentially the final round. Empire with a bit of an extended hold going inside a kitchen. It's going to be a blue bar and sunrise hold, something we don't see all that often. It is the tertiary site that most teams don't go to if they're given the choice. Penthouse and theater. Only teams like Tempera enjoy playing that sort of thing. It feels like everyone else steers as far away as possible. I'm keen to know if this is going to be a roam game for them, or if we're going to see them play more on site, hunker down, and let BDS come to you, because there is no clash here this time round, at least, to waste time.
This is BDS's last chance. We cannot say this again unless, of course, it does go to them winning this round, and then they get another 3 chances to, project it all the way to overtime. But that means a full reverse sweep is required. And for BDS, well, that would be a very sad tale to tell. And for Empire, that's rewriting the books for them here for 2020. Something I don't think they thought they'd be able to say, that they'd be able to walk away as major winners. 2 minutes away, or partially less if things start to look a little bit weary for one team, to work out exactly which team will walk away either with a reverse sweep possibility or with the win. And now I'm trying to analyze exactly what's going on here. And shout out to our observer, Medics, who's been able to find every kill thus far. It's given us a really good showing of both of these two teams, but nothing yet. It's the quiet before the storm. And nope, no, it's not.
It's absolutely, there is no calm before no storm, because Dan is whipping one up on Coastline. 2 kills coming out early in the round. And yes, one was traded back onto Always. But look at it. There's Joystick at the pool entrance doorway. There's Dan doing a run out at about halfway into the round. Empire mean business, and they catch Psycho. That's the one that you want to bring down. Brede will trade it back, and that's always nice to have on side. But it's Brede, it's Renshiro, the last men standing here that stand between Empire and that trophy they've been chasing for the last couple of years since SI 2019. What a journey this would turn into if they can do it all here and now. Let's see how they can pull this off. If BDS can find anything with the couple of drones they've got left and the couple of players, now's the time to channel everything you've got to turn this into victory. They've got the long range angle coming out of ruins. They've got a player playing above. They have very little presence towards site itself right now. I think they're just very wary of yet another run out, because every window they look at has got a hole. It's got a bullet hole. It's got a smash hole in it. There's always something going on where Empire are just going to be waiting at the right moment to take it away from them.
It looks like they've all evacuated the site now. They don't want to risk it. They want to play lobby. BDS doesn't have control, and Shepard still has his smokes. We're getting down to the last seconds of the round. They want to plant off, but they are being baited back by those smoke babes. Brede says, I can inch my way in and get this plant off. Shepard says no, and this is going to be the perfect play from Scyther. Surely he can zoom on in. 10 seconds left. Plant is down, Dez. This could be a BDS round, but the retake could be strong.
They just didn't know it was coming in. He's managed to get away with an absolute steal there. And for Renshiro and Brede, all you got to do is hold on. They're going for the defuse. They've got to hold the suppressive angle so they see him. He's long-arming it. It's one man left alive. Renshiro, you've got to do it now. He gets the kill, or almost does. But Empire, that time it hit 0. And there's the celebration from a couple of the players we were looking for. They are your European major champions for November with a solid 3-0 victory over BDS.
Well, Des, we can finally say it. The Russian machines are back, baby, and they are well oiled. And they'll walk away as your champions here today for the European Major. How they would fare on an international stage yet again probably bodes pretty well for them, as they will secure their spot in the 6th Invitational. And I cannot wait to see them play up against BDS again, if that does so happen in SI come 2021.
There are a lot of people starting to say BDS are the hope for Europe at this point on the international stage. They're the only ones that you can turn to. But today, my friends, I think it's not just the Blues that we're looking at here. It's the Reds also alongside them that I can't wait to see when it comes to that international stage. But for today, it's about the European region. It's about Empire. They are your victors. Let's go to the desk and get their final thoughts on what happened in this series and what this means for the future.
Before we look at the future, I'd like to give a take back to the past, because last time Empire won a big tournament was in Raleigh, 2019, August. It's been so long since then, and here they are now, winners, the EU Major Grand Finalist and victorious, going to SI. Now, James and Gio, you're here, but we're supposed to have Fulk and Hap on for this segment. I just want to say, Gio, you were screaming. Hey, I'm not going to tell people what you typed in chat right now, but Gio was screaming the whole time in our ears as we're going through this match. Gio, you were... no, well, she's gone, so we can say whatever we want. We can say whatever we want about her, because Gio voted for BDS to win, but she was screaming every time Empire was getting a kill. So Empire victorious. It's been so long. Hap, holy crap, how do we get here?
They played so well. I think this is like, they started off a bit shaky, because after that first match they played up in this major, I said BDS and VP are going to be completely ripping apart these two teams in Temper and Empire. But Empire, they really grew towards this tournament, and when they took up that win against BDS, I knew they are starting to live up, and live up they definitely did during this second map, because they absolutely turned them to shreds.
I think that's the big thing about this as well, is out of the entire tournament, this is kind of the worst that we've seen BDS play. Unfortunately, they didn't have any of the control that they've otherwise had. They had an almost energyless day. And against Empire, who was so solid, and they were building their pace, and they've been doing it for a very, very long period of time. And even if you look at this kind of stage to this situation now, their performance has been one where they know that they've got to just keep stepping up and keep finding themselves more and more today. This, if we're talking about it being BDS's worst performance, was the best Empire performance we've seen for a long, long time.
And they needed a win to qualify for SI.
Yeah, everybody's been in your DMs about
they
it.
Made it.
Congratulations.
They got it.
It's official. They're at SI. You know, I'll be back to you and actually the entire talent team in just a minute here. Just going to have a chat with my good buddy, Joystick. Let's go. It's not ready. All right. So here we are.
We're still here.
Here it is. We are ready now. We can go now. Let's go. Joystick.
Hello.
Daniel.
Hello.
Congratulations, my man. Here it is. Team Empire victorious for finally, it's been so long. It's been since Raleigh that you haven't been victorious in a major tournament. First of all, I know the generic, how do you feel? But you know what? It's been so long. Really, it's been a tough road to get here. How does it feel finally for the entire team to finally breathe?
Of course, we are waiting for this so long. Like from the previous major, for August, it's more than 1 year. So we're really focusing on like to make our form as a team great again. And right now, it's not like a big major like at LAN with the full teams, but for us, it's a big victory because we are waiting for this so long. Yeah.
So hopefully we get to go for LAN events as soon as the pandemic kind of dies down. So I hope everybody takes the precautions for that. We all want to see Joystick and Team Empire playing online. I guarantee you it's been so long. But let's talk about Villa for a moment, because I remember very distinctly, only a couple of days ago in an interview on Friday, you were saying, you know, Villa, not really our thing. It's not
our thing.
Yeah. Was it now? Because you went on Villa, first of all, unexpected for us. You choose attack first. And for all intents and purposes, Devmart is sitting there saying, are they crazy? Why would Empire do that? And you slap BDS 7-3. What's going on there? What's the mindset behind choosing Villa and the attacking side?
Our point was that like when you are starting attack, you can understand how many rounds will you like did you get for the health, and then you can like play more comfortable in defense. That's why we attack first.
So less pressure on you, is that what you feel?
Yes.
And what do you think really pushed you ahead? Because getting 4 rounds on attack on Villa is unusual, especially against BDS.
I think we just prepare for them much than the previous time.
In what way? What really shone preparation?
Like for the positions, for the ADS, for everything. We just watched their previous matches and exactly watching what are they doing, so we can read them and know where the opponent exactly staying and holding angles, positions.
Do you feel that this is the best team Empire has been since that Raleigh major?
I think yes. We are really strong right now after the 2-month boot camp. And I think right now is our best form after the Raleigh major, I guess.
So, of course, early 2020 was a bit of a difficult year, SI all the way through here. Stage 2 was rocky in the beginning, yet you brought it in, as we can see now, in the major. So do we just sit back and expect, okay, Team Empire, this is how they're going to play from now on?
I think, yes, we have more confident right now because we won, and we know that we have power right now as a team, and we can be together as a team, because before the bootcamp we are not that team like right now.
You didn't have the cohesion that you have today.
Yeah, we have a lot of problems to fix, and right now everything is fine, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely shows it. In Coastline, though, you really went in and slapped BDS around, which is unexpected, right? A lot of people look at this, too, and say, BDS, they're a team that are very aggressive. They know how to control rotations. This is what they do. And yet again, on attack, you went 5 rounds up, and that was something unexpected. So, again, do you attribute it to the same preparation that you had, like Villa?
Yeah, the same. We just know exactly where they're playing, and we fix our problems before, because we lost, I guess, 2 rounds 4v2. We know that we need to play less aggressive, but we still almost throw these rounds. But today we won them. So
There were a couple of runs like that. Even the last run where you were stuck in a 2v2 and you knew like, okay, let's just not push and hold the angle that gives us the advantage, disarm the diffuser, and have the Melusi watching all the way into the office entrance. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. This is something that a lot of teams have struggled with in this major when you don't know how to work with post plant. And BDS Alems was talking about in an interview yesterday that sometimes it is very much difficult. Though Joystick, I remember yesterday we were talking about Six Invitational.
Yeah.
You are officially qualified for Six Invitational after this victory. That is pretty huge. Now, obviously, last year didn't go as planned, but is there anybody that you're afraid of for this year? Since we already know BDS is going to be playing there again.
No, we are not afraid of anyone.
Not even NA teams? Not even NA teams?
No,
Say, come on. This is European major. Throw it out.
No.
Not at all. All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
not a single NA team.
How you can play this game if you scary of someone?
There you go.
Like if you scary of someone, you start to play less confident, less aggressive. Like you try to do something, but you are scary and you just stay inside. You're shaking, and that's all. You can't play this game if you're scary.
Yeah, I completely agree. You have to throw that idea that my opponents are so good. You say we got here for a very good reason, and we're gonna play our best. So understandable. Joystick, on top of all of those points, you won, of course, a lot of money, a lot of bragging rights today, but also a trophy. We're just gonna give you a quick shot of what that looks like. By the way, if you haven't been able to see it, we're unfortunately not in the studio right now, but look at that. It's shattered glass.
We know. Like before we started the game, we look the new operator thing, and then after this, we saw this trophy and said, "Yeah, it will be ours." Yeah. We need a new trophy. Yeah.
Hopefully it gets there safe and sound. Of course, trophy, a big bag of money, and your huge SI points that propel you forward into the World Championship of Rainbow Six Siege team-wise. That is. Joystick, I'm going to leave the platform to you then at the end of the day. You won the whole major. It's been so long. You're qualified for Invitational. This is the Team Empire we're supposed to see, so go ahead.
I just want to say that I love you, everyone, guys. And that's all. We love you, boys. We love everyone. Russians are lovely people, We love everyone.
Yeah. Moi, indeed. Joystick, do you think that people that support Team Empire, where they can maybe support you monetarily, do you think that there's a place for them to buy like a skin for Team Empire?
You can buy skins, not only for Empire, for the other teams, guys. Buy everything what you want to support your teams.
Exactly, right? Favorite teams. This is the support, how you get the support staff to help teams like Empire and many others get to where they are. Joystick, Daniel, thank you so much again for the interviews all through this year, this season, and this major. Hopefully we'll see you performing the same way that you did today for the rest of the year and beyond. So thank you very, very much. Congratulations again to you and to Team Empire.
Yeah, good evening, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Daniel. До свидания. Here we are. Everybody is on the show right now. By the way, make sure that you are typing in a very specific channel if you want to speak, just to put it out there. Guys, Team Empire won and Gio picked BDS when...
Oh, come on! I mean, no, because even on our little spreadsheet...
He's going to have a Trump tantrum now.
Oh my God. I picked Empire! Because I'm a winner!
I picked BDS, but I wrote underneath it, I feel really guilty.
Look at Dez's number.
Dez is so trash. He is literally so trash.
Maybe if
Let's
US
go.
split was he'd
Why is the accuracy named better than Hap? Why?
Production got him.
Production.
Oh my God! Everybody's being roasted today. I can tell you that. But we've had such an eventful event, and honestly, there was some surprising performances in the stage and in the major. I just want you all to kind of debrief. Tell me, what are your highlight moments, guys? Like, what really stood out in this whole tournament? Come on, go, Dev.
I mean, that grand final stands out above the rest because it was nothing like the rest of the competition because the entire event was just so close. We had BDS fought hard from VP. We had that, like, every single game down to the wire, except that grand final. And it's funny because going into this, I thought Empire looked really good. I think that one map advantage is really going to seal the deal. I think BDS are going to win 1 or 2 maps, but Empire will get it. Nah. Throw that all out the window. Villa was just a massacre for Empire. Amazing for them. What an achievement.
I think for me, it had to be probably the 2 upper bracket game. Well, upper bracket game on the first day wasn't really an upper bracket game. Semi-final, the BDS versus Virtus Pro, incredible from start to finish. BDS versus Empire, incredible from start to finish. The grand final, I'll go out there and say that a little bit too quick for my liking, admittedly. Probably the fastest grand final I think I've ever seen. But otherwise, every single game involving BDS has been a real joy to watch. And that's not because I'm trying to say I'm a fanboy. It's just genuinely been really fun to see them grow and adapt on maps like Villa and other teams learning how to play against them.
For me, I mean, I really have to say the upper bracket finals stood out so much, the BDS versus Empire, because it was so backwards and forwards. It was so close. And after that game, especially when we knew BDS were going to be coming up into the final, I didn't really know what to expect. And Empire winning, I think, took a lot of people by surprise, myself included. I tweeted it. I have no shame about it, but I teared up at the end of that game. I was so excited by it. And then obviously I'm kind of biased because James and I casted the lower bracket finals, and that was just so exhilarating to be a part of, especially knowing the BDS were exhausted. They were tired from the game that they'd played against Empire, and they still put up such a good show against Virtus Pro. The whole thing was insane.
I think a lot of people are going to be sitting there, Milosh, and obviously everyone probably around me would agree here now, is that they're going to be looking at that. And I know Des was quite upset that it was a fast matchup. Don't be upset. It bodes really well for Empire. It shows how much preparation put in, how spectacular they played today. I said throughout my entire cast with Des, I don't think BDS played horribly, because had they we would have been able to point it out, but there wasn't a lot we could. I think Empire was a tier above them, a step above them today, and we shouldn't be upset that a team showed such prowess on multiple maps against a really big hitting team. We should be, celebrating them for that achievement and for them moving forward, I think.
For me, it's really the rivalry we saw between Virtus Pro and BDS that just managed to get down to the wire time and time again. It just didn't stop, and it's so fitting, like how BDS managed to basically beat them twice, only to lose to Empire later in the grand finals and the upper bracket final twice in a row. It's like the big brother taking revenge for the little one.
I like the fact we have another good EU team. Again, we have the promise of another EU team.
Don't jinx them for SI.
Hey, SI, we're coming for you. It's EU. We want our trophy back. Oh, look who's back too. It's Empire. Yeah, they're one of us now. I'm hyped about that. Gimme. Bring it on, NA.
Damn, it's like we shunned Empire when they didn't do well in 2020. Fluke's like, all right, we've welcomed them back into the club because they're doing well now, okay? They're ours.
Yeah. Anything that takes the wind out
I was
of their
always
sails.
happy to welcome Empire into EU.
Until today, during the finals for your prediction.
Yeah, where you didn't predict them.
Yeah, wow. One thing that really...
Oh my god.
You and your
okay,
numbers
guys.
and logic.
One of the things I love about this entire event, aside from the fact that, we've got cool EU teams kicking it again, is just the quality of Siege that we got. I mean, we got Amaru counter strats. We got some crazy things left, right, and center. We got to see Tempera just doing Tempera things, their rush strategies, whatever they had to bring to the table. It was beautiful. I think we got such a diverse quality of gameplay from game to game. We saw a lot of different maps, and I really thoroughly enjoyed every damn second of it. And what a pleasure it was to finally get some BO3s here in EU and a chance to give platforms for teams like Tempera and Empire, who previously, Empire was 8th place in stage 1. And they didn't even get to play all their 9 games in stage 2 because of that forfeit, and they come through and win the goddamn major. What an insane time to be part of European Rainbow Six.
Jess, your final thought?
God, I was going to wrap up with a point. And then I was like, no, Milosh is going to wrap up, so I'll throw it out.
No, it doesn't matter. Production's sitting here all night.
She's going to rap?
No, I will not.
We got some bars to spit.
Yeah,
knees weak, arms are heavy.
No,
it's
you
not.
can't plagiarize.
Look, I don't think we're short on time, guys. Let me just put it that way. I don't think we're short on time.
We've actually gained a second on the clock.
Chill out.
I was going to say, the clock just did a little bit of a skip back, and now it's paused.
That's
in
the
time
real-time clock.
Reason.
This is like hour and minutes that it's currently,
It's going to be
actual CET.
What I do want to say...
This is not a timer.
Yeah, Jessica.
Was we started off today, with that reveal panel and everything like that, and I kind of wanted to bring it forward and wrap it up here and to say that, these majors throughout this month, we have the LATAM, we've had the EU one now, we'll have the NA one, and then we'll go on to the APAC one, and Oceania will have their day as well in between all of that, so make sure you catch them. But the importance is that this is the last opportunity for us to see an era of Siege, I think, that a lot of people have either, loved or been frustrated with. And we will move into 2021 with a new era of Siege, a new way of looking at the meta, a new way that Ubisoft is trying to help us travel down. And so I want to see what teams can come up with for that last little bit of 2020 and go, all right, this is what we have until we move into 2021. And then we get such a refreshing new way of playing Siege. And I can't wait to see that as well. And I think that's what makes Siege so special for all of us, for competitors, casual viewers and players alike, is that we get to see the evolution of Siege. Today we saw history. Next year we'll continue to see history. And I'm just, I'm so happy to be along for the ride. So that's it.
I definitely think that people that have not played this game since the beginning don't really understand how things were back in the day and how we got here today. It's, as the developers said it themselves, it's not an excuse to say, hey, these issues are here. No, it's to say they are here. We acknowledge them as they did in the segment today, revealing new operations, saying we acknowledge the 20-second metagame. They said it before on the Logic Bomb podcast. We have to fix this. They are finding fixes for it. This is something that we're going to hear more about and hopefully have under wraps come SI 2021. I hope so. I obviously am not putting the timeline. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Let's all be completely honest. It really damages the timelines for everybody out there. I'm just glad that we can continue to support the game. People that come in and watch the tournaments all the time, we thank you very much for doing that. It's very important for the teams, for us, for production to say like, hey, all this work we're all putting in, all this preparation, I can open to you right now a sheet with every single line that these commentators here as analysts or casters have put down as notes just in preparation, literally just tiny lines for every single game we had, and we would go to 100 pages, and that is only a pointer and nothing more. A lot of people do a lot of work to make sure this production works as best as it can and that this game works the way it does, and we're so proud to be part of it. So, you know what? Let's very quickly wrap up and show that playoffs bracket again, as I would like to remind everybody that December, we're going to have the EU League finals, and that it's going to be pretty big. Top 4 teams. Yeah, we're going to go through that. It's going to be a hell of a run through to see really the end of this entire year in terms of competition. That will definitely be huge in its own way. So, production, can we bring up that playoff bracket very quick? Please? No?
No.
Yes, there it is. There it is. Of course, before we were talking about relegations and how things are going to be once we get to the EU League finals and everything that's going to happen in and around it with Rogue and Chaos, Chaos being eliminated and Rogue fighting for the spot in the league. But these are the top 4 that made it through today. Tempera breaking through all the barriers and putting them at least a bit of a mark on the tournament here today. Very impressive, to be completely honest, from a team that went all the way at the bottom of the league to where they are now. Empire, BDS, and Virtus.pro fought so hard, and we got to the grand final with Empire and BDS. Again, France versus Russia. And that's where it all started. That's where it all ended. Team Empire with a 1-map advantage. It goes 3-0. That is it. Empire are back. That's all you need to retain from this major. If you retain one thing, write it down in stone. Empire, and I'm not going to say the sentence because Parker trademarked that probably. They fought again.
I think George Lucas trademarked that, actually.
I don't know who that person is. I only listen to Parker.
Oh, God, and Tero is George Lucas.
Did he tell you? Did he tell you he made Star Wars?
What is that?
Tero's new film.
Jesus.
So it's a famous Canadian franchise.
Famous Canadian show. Guys, honestly, I know it's very emotional. We're tired. We've been through all of this in preparation for so many weeks now. So thank you so much for being here. Remember that new operation will be coming out soon. Make sure you playtest everything and read the UB blog post coming out come next week. Check out all the details once we go live. When everything goes live, try the game. Just give us feedback. That's all that is necessary, and give it in the most concise way, please. Everybody's listening, and this is the time to move on to Siege 2.0. This is where we want to be in the future. Thank you so much for watching the major through with us today. For Empire, victorious and qualified for Invitational, from all of our talent team, from our observers, of course, Medics and Easy, who gave us wonderful moments for trophy, side points, money, of course, the Ubisoft team, and our production squad that made it all happen. We love you. Good night.
He's been playing really well again. He was the highest rated player on Team Empire throughout the entire stage. He comes here to the major and he just shows up so much. I can even tell you how many of those kills he got were multi-kills that he got all in one go. But the point is, he still sat there at plus 14 with plus 5 opening kills at the moment, and he has been doing very well. In the words of Joystick, Dan is the best player in the world. But Dan comes in with a 2K.
Right, he goes for an awkward plant spot, but Dan, the man himself, runs out onto the balcony and finds 2 kills.
He looked for the kill, but Dan said, no, this is our territory. You know that low.
Dan